Welcome to the Blaize interviews. My name is Blaize, and today we have
Casey James Murphy, also known as the Dreadful Operator.
I ain't gonna lie, you put your middle name out there too. Like I have. This is the internet, man. Like you've already put out like half of what people need to do to know to like open up a social security in your name.
I'm more than comfortable with that. If anybody wants to do anything to boost my credit,
please,
you're more than welcome.
I need that credit score up, bitches.
Yeah.
But Casey, thank you for coming to me. And one thing I would like to ask, especially because you and I have a special connection because we work together, and so you're the second massage therapist that I've actually brought onto the show. And secondly, we're also going to produce at least one song together.
Absolutely.
At least one song together. And so you've also worked with Young Casperon. So which would you like to start off with? Would you like to start off with how you got into massage first? Or would you like to start off with how you got into making beats and producing and rapping and all that?
There's actually a little bit of an overlap as to when I started making beats and when I was studying to become a massage therapist.
Okay. So, how do these two, because they're completely two different passions, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, but I think that's a good intersection to start with.
Okay.
So, once upon a time, I spent a lot of time wandering, and I just remember, I kept having all these, existential crises with myself and traveling, trying to figure out what it was I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. And I really have to attribute all of everything that I figured out to not finding the right answer, finding the right question.
Yeah.
I used to leave my hometown a lot. I used to go back. And I was like, why do I keep going back? What is it about my hometown that I keep going back to, right? If I just turn around to leave again. And then I realized the question isn't, why do I keep coming back? It's, why do I keep leaving?
Huh.
So I realized I kept leaving because I exhausted all of the options for, a 16-year-old. And at this point, I'm in my 20s, and I'm I need to stop working jobs. I need a career.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I had a moment of clarity. It was okay, if I could have a career, what would I be? Oh, massage therapist.
At 16?
No, this was
20.
After years of fucking up. Yeah.
Because at 16, 20...
Yeah,
well, you said you exhausted all. So at 20, you were like, "What have I exhausted?"
I've been doing 16-year-old shit for the last 4 years.
Yeah, I was just I was like, wait. What do you mean?
I used to teach swim lessons. The last summer that I was lifeguarding, one of my coworkers was one of the kids I taught how to swim, and now this kid is lifeguarding with me. It's cool until you realize that you're working a high school summer job in your 20s. Right? You're the guy that's old enough to buy beer for everybody. That's line. Yeah,
who does?
That's the line.
That's the line.
Did not, by the way.
Okay.
But I mean, that's the thing. So I was okay, I need to do something different. I need a career. And when I wanted a career, I started thinking about just what it was that I cared about. And one of my best friends in the world was a massage therapist, and I just knew that I wanted to know everything that she knew.
Okay.
So I got back to my hometown, and I immediately applied.
And where's your hometown again?
Rochester, New York, home of the Garbage Plate, 585 worldwide. Shout it out.
So that way people have a reference to all your references.
All my references.
Because
birthplace of Cab Calloway.
Cab Calloway.
Yeah. Mr. Heidi Ho Man himself.
Heidi Ho.
Heidi, 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 Heidi. That's Rochester. That is Rochester in a nutshell. Ho-de, 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 ho. I mean the music, not the connotation of the words. So, yeah, I went back to Rochester, and I had been in bands before, and every time I left town, I was like, okay, I'm not going to do this when I come back, and I came back to something different, a couple band reunions, and eventually I was like, you know what? I can just, get a drum machine and figure out how to program drums.
Okay.
And
were you a drummer?
I did play a little bit of drums. I was actually, the last band that I was in, while I was in massage school, while I was making beats, I did play a lot of drums in. I also played bass. I also did some vocals. We all kind of rotated roles. Mm-hmm. But in the process of getting this drum machine, to learn how to program drums for punk music, inevitably, you have a beat machine, you start getting into hip-hop. And I also grew up, idolizing Busta Rhymes, Bone Thugs, Wyclef. I was a huge Wyclef fan, Naughty by Nature.
Oh, Naughty by Nature.
Wu-Tang
especially. You do nothing but talk about Wu-Tang when we hang out.
I don't only talk about Wu-Tang, but there's a lot
of Wu-Tang in you, boy.
You come here with one day that I'm not wearing Wu-Tang socks.
Yeah, but you know what? You ain't nothing to fuck with. Hey!
All day. So, yeah. So while I was in massage school, right, in town, I'm also learning how to chop up beats. And at first I was doing it to to make like hardcore music with. I used to listen to a lot of this band Atari Teenage Riot, bunch of German anarchists. Yeah, and then it turned into hip hop, and then I did my first show. I did a producer showcase and actually like battled a couple people.
As a producer?
Yeah.
So what is a producer showcase? I've never heard of a producer showcase before.
So, I mean, off the bat, the term producer is thrown around really lightly.
Bro, don't even get me started with that. We've had so many quote unquote producers on.
Yeah.
They're like Young Baka, he's a producer.
Yeah. I think he's more of a producer in the sense of like an actual album producer and not necessarily in the sense of a beat maker.
Because like Dr. Dre is a producer, and like remember that we were even watching that Dr. Dre versus and Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah.
Like when he was in the music industry, like producer means so much different.
Right. In
the film industry than it does in the music industry, and I actually didn't think about that until you and I were literally watching that like this Monday.
Yep.
When we were hanging out, having a good time.
Yeah, like real friends in real life, because we do that
sometimes. Like once a month.
Yeah. That's honestly about as much socialization as I can handle, and then I crawl back under a rock.
I mean, you're other side of a hermit crab.
It works. It's really working for me, you know. I always I try to make things sound like I'm joking so they don't sound so pathetic, but like I tell people there's a reason I got into a field where it's my job to talk to somebody for 5 minutes and then we're just quiet for the next hour. Like as an antisocial person, that's a great way to be like, oh yeah, I'm around people all day and I don't have to say anything.
I ain't gonna lie though, like, see the difference, I'm the opposite. I'm the 100% complete opposite, because like with my clients, 90% of them, they just want to talk. You know what I mean?
Sometimes they do want to talk. That doesn't mean I'm not gonna.
You're just giving the yums.
Mm-hmm. Oh, go
on. Oh, is that so? Please tell me more. I love those conversations.
I mean,
because one of my things with therapy, massage therapy, is people forget how much therapy is in massage therapy.
Yeah. No, there's definitely like a big like talk therapy element. In the same way like people talk to their hairdresser, people talk to their barber. People talk to anybody whose ear will listen to them uninterrupted.
Yeah.
And somebody told me early on, everybody's favorite topic to talk about is themselves.
Yeah.
So you get them talking, you get people in front of you for a podcast, and all of a sudden they just start...
people tell me a lot of things. I've had things like... People have told me things like... Not just here on this podcast, but also in my line of work. Like, I had people tell me about, like, their sex life. People have shown me pictures of their poop. People have, like, told me about, like, things that, like, I'm like... Okay, cool. That's your thing. That's not really my thing. Good for you.
I've definitely had people ask me if like they can talk to me about their daily constitution, if you will. Yeah, and people are always, and then you gotta like ask the standard questions like, okay, color and texture.
Yeah, color, texture, with size.
Because if you're gonna bring it up, then you gotta be ready to like
actually
paint the
answer
whole picture.
it.
Yeah, you can't just be given like half-assed details.
Yeah, because the thing is, like, when people... Because we work technically in the medical field, even though we're not really technically medical people. Like, we have to, like, know these things because people will ask us these things. And people will say, what is this? And a lot of what I've done is, like... have you ever heard of Dr. Robert Clapper?
Sounds like the setup to a joke.
It's not. It's not.
Nope.
I wish it was, but it's not. I get it because his name's Dr. Clapper. Now that I think about it, it is hilarious.
Yeah, Bob
Clapper.
Bob Clapper. If I had to put a fake name on any kind of registry, that's what I'm going with.
No, but he's a surgeon in Orange County who works at the Angels and other pro teams, and like he has this thing on AM 710 radio. It was called the Weekend Warrior Show. I'm not sure if it's still going on, but when I was going to massage school, I would have to go like around I had to drive around I had to wake up around like 6 o'clock, and I just like to listen to him because he would break things down in like a medical term, and he would like break it down like, so think of your body as if it's a mold, clay, or it's like he would break it down like that. And so a lot of like what I comprehend is like, how can I just make it easy for the simple man? And that's what I learned a lot from like listening to him. From his Weekend Warrior shows, like, because we were talking about earlier about like even making taxes simpler for your students, or even talking about like doing certain things to teach you. Okay, this is what you're doing here, and you're gonna find it, and people are gonna ask you why is it hurting there? You've had this like you'll be working on someone's lower back, and it was like, is that bone? I'm like, no, that's muscle. So, like, what are some things and tips that you have for people, like, to say, like, to know about their body?
Honestly, you have to develop body awareness, right? Because if you don't have a frame of reference, then you're not aware when something's not right. So you know what I mean? Like, as cheesy as it sounds, it is important to check yourself in the shower. It's important to look at your reflection and, check on your skin once a week, every other week, because...
Especially for you.
Yo, yeah. Yeah, no, I land airplanes at midnight, too, when I take my shirt off. It's bad news bears. Yeah. So I got to make sure that, like, I'm keeping an eye on, is that a freckle or is that, like, a morphing freckle? Like, was that there last week? Was that as intense last week?
Yeah.
When I had a cancer. That came from just, checking myself, right? So, like, you have to know what your body feels like when it's comfortable. And I think a lot of us, we know what we feel like when we're in pain. Mm-hmm. And then the second we feel better, because our body doesn't face any resistance, we don't feel any awareness of it.
Yes.
It's the same way like when you're learning how to identify muscles. Like if I told you your bicep flexed your elbow, so just bring your hand to your wrist. Did you feel that? If you feel that, you're going to feel that like maybe in the back of your arm. That's the muscle that's stretching.
Yeah.
You don't feel the muscle when it's doing its job because it's doing its job.
Yes.
If I said, okay, pick up a 10-pound weight and then bring your hand up to your elbow and you feel where that resistance is coming from, that's the muscle we're talking about. And so you don't have to like work out every day, but you have to know which muscles are doing what. You have to know what makes your body move in the ways when it's healthy. Again, because you're not going to feel it when it is running healthy, but if you can have more awareness of it, you can notice when things start going off a little before it becomes some big issue.
Yeah, and I know I've told you this before, because I told you I work on average about 12 people a week. 12 people a week, right? So that's 624 bodies a year. You know what I mean? That's a lot of bodies. And so what I always tell my clients is I worked on 1,000 different bodies, body types, cadavers. I went to actual college, so I had to work on like physical. I had to like dissect human bodies, which is very interesting because when you see the human body like displayed there and like laid out like as fact, is different than like looking at a textbook, looking at it going whatever. But then you see the muscle actually moving, like you said, like the bicep. Like we would have to peel the skin off, and then we would move the arm, and we physically see the bicep moving. And so that was something that was like very shocking to me. It is hard because I have very sensitive palate and smell, so I can only be formaldehyde. I can only be in there for like 20 minutes before I got to go out and puke. Okay. Like it was cool. It was a great experience, and that's what I mean. But like you have to actually know, and I tell my clients this is one of my favorite jokes and true stories is I worked on 1,000 different bodies, 1,000 different body types, so I know what the body should look like and feel like. So I treat every single one of my clients like my mother treats me when I go home. Your mama opens the front door. She says, "Your hair is a mess. Your shirt's ugly. You need new shoes." You know what I mean? Yep. I tell my clients, I don't look for what's right. Like a mama, I only see what's wrong. Because mama only sees what's wrong. Mama never sees what's right. You have a lot of emotional backlash right now. Like, your trauma. There was a lot of trauma right there.
I was like, do I co-sign on that? Do I agree? What's been my lived experience? Is that my mom doesn't usually open with that.
My mama does. My grandmama does too. My grandmama, oh my God, I was just talking about this cousin this week, actually, yesterday. Is one of my favorite stories about my grandma is I just came back home from college, and I was in the garage looking for some like extra spare clothes. And out of the bin, I pulled out some jeans. And my grandma's visiting at the house. She just happens to be there. She's in the kitchen. She's in the garage with me. She's like, "Ay, mijo, are you sure those gonna fit?" I was like, "What? Damn, that is the hardest backhand I've ever received on my face. Like, are you sure those gonna fit?" Like, oh damn, grandma, I ain't that fat.
I mean, what was her tone when she said it? Was she like, "Oh, those aren't? Are you sure those are gonna fit?"
No, it was more like,
stop, don't pop that button. Like, we got glass.
She was like, "Mijo, you sure that?" She looked me up and down as she said it. She looked me up and down like I was a punk off the street. She was like, "You sure that's gonna fit?" I was like, "Damn." That's not even the only time she shaded me. She shaded not only me, one of my exes. So when I was coming back home from college, because as everyone knows, I went to College of Hawaii. So special, but it is. So I called my grandma. Like I was flying home on Sunday, and I called. Actually, no, I was probably flying home on like Friday or Saturday. So it's probably I called her on Wednesday. I know I called her on Wednesday because I called her in the middle of the week. Because that's when I call her. Is the middle of the week.
Okay.
Because I know she's available. Right?
Doesn't conflict with anything else in her busy schedule.
Yes.
Like Wednesday is like chill night.
Yeah, it's chill day. You know what I mean? So I call her, and I say, "Oh, Grandma, I'm going to bring my girlfriend over to visit." And there's a long pause. Like a whole, breath. She goes, "You sure? You sure? Like I didn't buy the ticket already. Like I bought the ticket for us to go back." I was like, "Yes, Grandma, I'm sure." And oh my goodness, I'm not just gonna say no. I'll say the last story for another time. But Grandma's savage. Grandma's savage. Grandma Alvarado, savage.
You know, my grandparents. Neither of my parents stayed where my grandparents lived, so it was always like several hour drive. They would visit once a year, maybe.
What'd your grandparents say?
My dad's parents were upstate New York, like on the northern side. Rochester's considered western New York, right? So we're out by Buffalo. Grandparents lived up in Lake Placid, home of the 1988 Olympics, 86 Olympics.
I like how you have all this like fucking facts.
There's
You're
still a
like
bobsled track up there. Yeah, I know about where I grew up.
I like that. No, I like to play tourist too. When I bring people over, I'll be like, "Oh, this is a good gas station over here."
Yeah. You gotta know like which corner store has the good subs.
Stuff like that. No.
Yeah.
So we got way sidetracked from my originals. So yeah, you're producing, making music, massage school. So you graduated massage school in what year?
That was 2014.
2014. Okay, and you were at what age were you at that time?
So I was 28.
28. Oh, okay. So you said you were early 20s, mother.
When I came to the realization that I needed to become a massage therapist. Well, I graduated when I was 28. I started school when I was 27. I started the application process when I was 26.
28.
Like it took a minute.
Okay, well, it took me literally. All right, I'll say this. I started massage school summer of 2011, and I finished. I want to say it was definitely fall of 2013. No. Okay, hold on. Yeah, 13.
I just have to check my Facebook albums to see like, what year things.
Yeah, what happened? Yeah, because that's what it is. No, but the reason why is I started community college and massage school at the same time, and I finished community college and massage school relatively the same time. I became a massage therapist before I finished community college because when I was going to community college, I was still doing the whole like hoping to be a physical therapist. Now that dream is dead.
Mm-hmm.
So now I think I told you I want to buy a ranch and I want to have 200 acres. I said that multiple times on this podcast. 200. You know what I mean? I don't want to make this thing. I want water rights. But when did you go overseas?
Okay, so I guess I graduated massage school in 2013.
Oh, so you graduated around the same time. Yeah, because I graduated 13. I went to Hawaii 2014 spring, and then I left 2018.
So yeah, it was 2012 when I was out traveling, figuring my stuff out, and then started massage school in. It was 2011 when I was figuring things out. Started massage school in 2012.
I graduated high school 2011.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, so I got a couple of years on you.
You've known this.
Yeah. It's just, it's interesting, like, putting overlapping events. Like, it's one thing to be like, oh, yeah, I'm a couple years older than you. It's another thing to be like, oh, yeah, I was
still unable
back
to drink
school when you were...
Finishing your last...
Yeah, like, the amount of things that transpired in between when I
the amount of growth.
When you graduated high school.
The amount of growth that happened.
Yeah, I lived a lifetime in that time.
You should have. I will say this. One of my favorite quotes from Muhammad Ali was, a man that views the world the same at 50 as he did at 20 wasted 30 years of his life. You know what I mean? And which is true because, like, especially like you who's traveled the world and there's so many things, like, in 1 year, so many things change. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In 1 year, like, you know, your whole life can change, your whole situation can change, your whole fortune can change. Like, you can go 1 year from being, like, nobody to being somebody. Especially here in Los Angeles.
There's a quote, and I've heard it from a couple different sources, so I don't know where exactly to attribute it. But it says something to the effect of, if you're not a revolutionary in your 20s, you have no heart. But if you haven't turned establishment by your 30s, you have no brains.
I just say fuck all government. You know what I mean? Capitalist, socialist, communist. Never trust the government. That's my point of view. At age 31, I'm honest. I'm Ron Swanson. I'm like, fuck all government. Government is useless. Depend only on yourself and no one else.
So then, right? Do you lean more towards anarchy, or do you lean more towards like Tea Party, libertarian?
Tea Party. I'm definitely more a libertarian. Excuse me, not a librarian. I can't read or spell or anything like that.
I don't think anybody's gonna fact check that.
People have, and they found out I can't do either. It's because I'm actually dyslexic.
As am I, which I didn't know was a spectrum until very recently.
It is, and well, the thing is, like, people, like, I will mix up names. So, like, for example, I will call a kid by their parent's name and their parent by their kid's name, kind of like dyslexia. And I was like, I mean to talk to you because this is my association. Like, I know, and I think I'm talking to that person, but I'm looking at that person. I'm talking to them, but I'm saying that other person's like, or even the husband or wife. I'm talking to like the husband, calling him by his wife's name.
Oh, really?
Something like that. Because you know what? Because it's not that like I mix them up. It's just I'm thinking of both because I know them. They're both like the same thing, and then like, whoop.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, that's kind of the first time I actually came to understand dyslexia was my senior year of high school, which one of my one of my coaches in wrestling, he also had dyslexia, and he was I forget his name. I can't remember his name, but he was an NCAA champion wrestler. Yeah, I forget for what college, but he showed the ring off. I was like, damn, that's a nice ring.
Okay.
But he said he had dyslexia too, and it's like, when you have dyslexia, it's like reading Jack and Jill. Saying Jack and Jill went up the hill. You can read every letter, but it won't comprehend or go through. And then suddenly, 5 pages down the hill, you read Jack and Jill are fighting a dragon. Wait, what? How do we go off a hill to fight a dragon? And that's kind of like his kind of like reference point. It's like you will the words you will process them, but you won't. You will read them, but you won't process them, is what you meant. Is you will read them and you won't process them, it's kind of like it'll just go through you.
Okay.
And so it's one of those things that was the best definition for, like, dyslexia I ever got. Because that's really, sometimes it feels like, how did we get here?
So, that's interesting. I was under the impression that dyslexia was a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not as cognitive.
Yeah. Well, it's cognitive. It's like I don't cognitively like understand it.
When I think of it being like more cognitive, I think of it as like a processing in a slightly more literal way. Right? Like seeing blue, calling it blue. And this seems more like you're like switching like concepts. Like your mind is switching the order of who this person is versus like I see things backwards. Like if I don't pay attention to what I'm doing or what I'm writing, I will switch numbers around. So like
same, yes.
But like mine is just strictly at the number of like the actual characters, and I think for a lot of people it's like reading certain characters, you switch the characters up, and that's why like certain fonts work better. But this is like, I feel like what you're saying is like regardless of the font, even if you could understand the fonts, it's how you're understanding the abstract version of like what is this describing, what is this scenario, and like you paint the picture in a different order.
Yes, as well.
Yeah, I didn't realize that was dyslexia.
That's another form of dyslexia. Well, that's how one of the best ways he's told me to, because like how you're saying too is also the same thing, because when I graduated college, I actually had to go back and I went through all my my mom saved all my medical files, and so as a child I went to therapy, and because I actually got kicked out of school in second grade. Oh no, third grade I got kicked out of school because I was a bad kid, and I literally went from a Chinese Christian school in second grade to the Walnut Public Education System in third grade. So I went from literally from a classroom of 2 to a classroom of 32. So it's literally 10 times, 30 times the max. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, cool, whatever. And so I just was a bothering. So I was literally a distraction. And that's when they sent me to go to therapy and make me do some tests. And that's when they found out that even not even that, and when I was in second grade at the Christian school, one of the teachers actually went up to my mother and said, "You should probably get him tested. Go send him to this school. They'll test him good at this school." And I was like, "Okay." And so my mom sent me to that school, and I got sent out of that school and went to a continuation school after second grade, which is the bad kid school. And so then that's when they kind of told me that, and I was reading all the files, and one of the things that really struck me when I was reading the files is the phrase "poor final attacking skills." Poor final word attacking skills. That was the phrase.
Damn.
Right? And you feel? Do you feel hurt? Do you feel like that's you or no?
Yeah, I always had my report cards. My mom was always so confused. She was like, her teachers were confused. Like my teachers, when they would have parent-teacher conferences, she was like, I never had a kid that I would say, is a pleasure to have in class, doesn't do any of his work, right? Needs tutoring, is very friendly, is great with the community, is very participatory. I was.
But you didn't do no homework.
No, I didn't do shit. I was great socially. I was great in the classroom. I could raise my hand. I could answer questions.
You were a delight, but motherfucker, do your work.
Yeah, I wasn't.
You a lazy ass motherfucker. You was a lazy ass motherfucker.
I don't think it was that. It took me forever to get things done.
I mean, let's talk about you when I tried to pick you up today and how you try and manifest things into the future.
That has a solid foundation. I think that's working for me.
That is, you try to do things in the future, but I live in the present, and that doesn't work for me. You're thinking 2 steps ahead. I'm thinking of where you at right now and what are you about to do.
You got to think globally, act locally. So you got to think universally, and then just act in the present.
We try to, don't we? But let's go back to, because we keep getting sidetracked because we're high, we're a little drinking, we're having a good time.
I'm following your lead.
So we go back to the massage and all the way back to the beginning. Okay. But how they intersected massage and producing. So you were massage producing. Yeah. You found you were in a band. How many bands were you in? You were in 4 bands?
Yeah. I was in a band in the beginning of high school.
What were all their names? Do you remember?
The very first band I was in, we called ourselves Broken Soldier.
Oh.
And then I changed the band name kind of without consulting the band. So same band, but I booked us a show.
And you changed the name?
When I booked the show, I booked it under a different name. Nobody knew who we were. It didn't really matter that much,
Were they mad? Were they mad?
I don't think they accepted the name change. I think they were like,
did they kick you out?
No. I think whole band career we did 8 shows.
Okay, first off, you kept saying you had how many band reunions did you have? Because how long does it take for you to have a band a band reunion should be you guys worked together for 10 years. Mm-hmm. You broke up for 30 years, and you're oh, we're coming back together. How long does a band reunion take?
I mean, if you play a final show and then you go your separate ways and enough time passes that you want to come back and play the same songs.
Enough time. What is enough time?
I don't know. It's going to be different for everybody. So that band, we did 8 shows. That was the end of that. Then
was it good, bad?
was alright. It was a learning experience. I played bass in a pop punk band.
Were you guys cover. Like high school?
We did a King of the Hill cover. Yeah.
King of the Hill cover?
Yeah.
Well, like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we did that.
That's cool. That's fun. That's fun.
Damn It by Blink-182.
And
then the guitarist and the singer would end every set just like acoustic. Not every set, but half the time they wanted to do the acoustic, just the two of them doing Green Day's Time of Your Life. Something unpredictable, but in the end it's right.
Yeah.
I hope you had the time of your life.
Real
Oh yeah.
American. Oh, not American Idiot. Green Day. I was gonna say American Idiot, but I was gonna say Green Day. Fucking Blink-182 vibes.
I mean, they did have the album American Idiot after that.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking American Idiot.
Yep.
But yeah, okay. So that was first band. Second band.
First band. So second band. I believe that's when I was in Radioactive Snowshoe.
Radioactive Snowshoe.
Simultaneously in a band called... What was our name?
You were in two bands at the same time?
Yeah, because when I was playing bass and when I was playing guitar and singing...
How, would that, were schedules conflict? Or you like, damn, fuck, oh shit, would you...
No. So,
why could you
initially
both?
went with Hard Right Cross.
Wait, what?
That was the band name for that one. Hard Right Cross.
That sounds like a religious brand.
It kind of does.
It sounds like you guys played Sunday music songs.
So here's the thing: everybody in the band definitely had a different influence, and it really came out because each song that we each contributed sounded completely different. The drummer was really into Christian rock and was Christian, and wrote songs that sounded like Christian rock.
Mm-hmm.
The guitarist was super into Avenged Sevenfold. Everything that he wrote sounded like Avenged Sevenfold.
A vibe.
The singer loved Rage Against the Machine and Stone Temple Pilots. So grungy, but wanted to rap.
Yeah. Grunge rap.
And then our second guitarist / keyboard player was super industrial new wave and would also listen to metal and could play technical, but was more into kind of hard rock.
Okay. And then you?
I came in really not wanting to play a lot of that.
Any of it?
No, I was because my other band was this weird punk thrash ska band, and so I wanted to play fast hardcore music and metal. And I didn't want to play... And, we did a cover. We did a Stone Temple Pilots cover of Plush.
That sounds awkward.
Yeah. And,
did you feel comfortable doing that?
I hated it.
I feel that.
At one point, we were playing it, and I was, I was trolling so hard. I'm in the band, and, I have a carton of milk. And I'm just, drinking milk and, half-ass playing the song. And at one point, somebody's like, all right, stop. You're off. Something's not right. The tempo's not going. Casey, what are you doing? And I was like, honestly, I was playing Black Sabbath. I wasn't even trying to play the same song. But
you were just being an asshole, honestly.
Yeah, but there were times where I did take it seriously. We did a bunch of shows together. We played a basement show. We played a birthday party. We played
that's cool.
Small dive bars, stuff like that.
Well.
And that was at the same time that I was in my main punk band.
So that was number 3.
Yeah.
So what is number 4?
So the punk band Radioactive Snowshoe. That show.
Okay. Let's go in order. So the first one was
Broken Soldier.
Second one was Broken Soldier / what?
Snooze Button.
Snooze. That's what you ended up with?
I thought that was way cooler.
That was so lame.
Hey, 10th grade me was this is a great name for a punk band.
Actually, you know what? 10th grade you was an idiot.
I think that's a pretty redundant statement.
Yeah,
I was in 10th grade.
Yeah, number 2?
So number 2 was Radioactive Snowshoe.
Which is cool.
Yeah. And then while I was in Snowshoe, then I joined Hard Right Cross.
The religious band. And number 4 is...
so hold on, because we started this with how do we get to being in a band long enough to have a reunion? Me and Snowshoe were together for about 5 years, and we did probably close to 30 shows.
That's a lot.
We had, I mean, we have a ton of stuff up now that you can find on Spotify. It's all out there. You know, we put out 2, 3 full projects and, you know, post-release tracks. So then I thought I was like moving away, and we did a final show, and then I ended up moving back. A lot of life circumstances and whatnot. And when I moved back, we did a couple reunion shows because we thought we were broken up for sure. Like, one guy was moving away, I was going, another guy was going in different directions. So, like, we thought that was going to be the end of the music that we made together.
Mm-hmm.
So we did a couple reunion shows, but, you know, everybody was in different places, and I wanted to start something fresh, and I knew how long it took to be practicing before you actually have a set that's
actually worth
playing.
Yeah.
So
because you actually have to like get it together.
Yeah. So I came to the realization I wanted to be in massage school in October. The following January, I started the application process, and it took me 6 months to actually start massage school. So in that time, I was like, I want to start a new band.
Because you had to wait for the cycle for the school to start.
Exactly. So I also wanted to start a new band, and I wanted to like play a different instrument, right? Because I had done some bass. I started playing bass, and then I played a lot of guitar, but I always wanted to be a drummer.
Really?
And
I feel people don't want to be drummers.
Drumming is so great.
I mean, to be fair, everyone says drumming is the bass. I mean, it's the heart. It's the heart. It's like it keeps the tempo. It's like, what are we doing? The guitar is the whipped cream, but the bass is that foundation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And the drums is like the foundation of it. Yeah, the drums and the bass are like... So that band, we didn't have a guitarist. We just had drums, bass, vocals, and a noise station where we had like...
Noise station? What is a noise station? Like ah! 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 That's the noise coming out?
Have you seen us perform? You
never.
Pretty spot on. That was...
Literally never.
So we had...
Really? Is that really
one of the guys
was?
in the band like built stuff. He built a theremin. He built a distorted microphone into a gas mask. So when you were working the noise station, you could throw on the gas mask, just make sounds like that, and then have all these effect pedals that make it sound like outer space sounds and screeches, and it went with the music that we were playing.
Interesting. I definitely would love to see that play out.
Yeah.
I feel like I would fuck it up, but I would definitely love to play with it.
Yeah, I'll show you some videos sometime.
We will.
But that was like, so I wanted to start a whole bunch of new things. I'm going back to school. You know, I had an associate's degree in visual communication.
But not this amazing beard.
Yeah, not nearly
this gorgeous beard.
Lush.
I ain't gonna lie. Casey gave me some like beard oil, and like that shit made my. I went back to CVS and got that shit.
Yeah, that sandalwood.
I ain't gonna lie. I'm just not a fan of the smell of it.
It's hearty. It's warm.
See, the thing is, you know what I think my problem is? Because one of my teachers and one of my friends in massage always says, be scentless.
Yeah. And
I try and be scentless as possible. Like, it's not like I don't wear deodorant, it's I like wear like non-odor things, you know what I mean? So I try and be like less scent, like low scents.
So I definitely strive to be fragrance free.
It's hard, but yeah.
I do have this hard cologne that I love by this brand called Lucky Cat, and you've seen it. Like, you just like, it's like a balm.
Yeah,
rub it. So I like it because it doesn't have like a cloud around you. It's really just like, if you're that close, you can smell it. So like, if I touch my face, I can get like a little whiff of it, but you wouldn't smell it just like walking by me.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
So I feel like my beard oil, like I try to get that level where it's like, it's not coming off of me, but it's here.
Yeah, I mean, as beard men, like, I try, like, people are surprised of how much care I put into my beard. Like, I remember this one time, I actually got offended because someone is like, hey, man, like, a class was like, hey, what's up? And he's like, hey, you were touching your beard, I'm sure I'll clean this. Bitch, I said, bitch, I clean my beard twice a day. You know, actually, I take 2 showers a day, at least. Because I just can't, I have to be clean, you know what I mean? I can't not be clean. Like, I have to feel clean. Like, if I feel greasy or anything, like, Immediately. Like if I wear a shirt for longer than an hour, it's dirty. That kind of clean. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm gonna tactfully change the subject from my definition of clean.
He's like, I don't want to incriminate myself.
And I just wanna end this story with, in 2012, I was starting a new modality, a new chapter in my life, a new instrument.
Oh.
And then alongside with that band, I was working on a lot of stuff by myself, and that's when I picked up the beat production.
Yes.
There was one night where I couldn't sleep, and I literally was just like walking around the neighborhood, and I started rapping. Like I'd always listened to rap. I'd never really written rap, but
yeah.
I had a bar in my head, and I repeated it, and I kept building on it. And the guy that used to record a bunch of my punk stuff, he was a hip hop producer as well.
Okay.
And I was like, "Yo, do you have a beat? I think I have an idea for a song." And like knocked out my first song, and it was like, "Oh, this is something I might be good at. This is really fun."
You're really good. I ain't gonna lie. If you have not heard Dreadful Operator, he's really great. I ain't gonna lie. Like I literally was listening to the last album, the last mixtape you dropped.
Yeah.
And I was literally texting you as I was listening to it, and I was like, "This is my favorite bar." Oh, this is my favorite bar. And I was like, "Hold on, are you talking in French right now? I literally texted you, motherfucker. You speaking French?" I literally was upset at you for speaking French because how good it was.
Thank you.
It's an upset tweet. It's like, God damn, this motherfucker's spitting. Motherfucker's spitting.
Yeah.
That's just love. But like, that's just how funny, like, because I do appreciate it. And like, it was funny because one of my other guests, his name Andrew Fahey, he's a comedian, but he's also like a musician, but he's like, when he comes in, because like when I go to like even comedy shows or music shows, I'm one of those people like I have to sit in the front. And he's like, "Do you have any friends who are musicians, or are you a musician?" It's like, "No, why?" It's like, "You're the only person who sits in the front." Because do you feel like musicians or music people try and sit more in the front?
Oh, I think it's gonna be really different for everybody. You know, I think that it depends on what you appreciate from the artist. There are bands that I've seen where I want to be up, you know, chest like collapsing, pressed up against the grill, like, hands up, singing
Wu-Tang.
every single word, right? And then there are bands where like I'm happier with that gap between me, the pit, the front crowd, and the stage. Like,
you gotta admit the pit.
Because like sometimes it's more about the band, sometimes it's more about the show.
What about like when you go to a show like art? Because there are some artists where it's more about the pit than it is about going and seeing them. Do you agree with me, or yes or no?
I mean, like, yeah, that's kind of what I'm saying. Like,
yeah,
you know, it's about.
Do you like because you know there's times when you're like, fuck it, I want to go to this place and I want to be about the pit. You know what I mean? Because there's times you're like you just want to be fucking just like. Rah, rah. I've been in the pit before, and that shit is fucking like the craziest shit. Like, you might die in this. Like, you know what I mean? Like Tech 9 shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Fucking like Travis Scott. Like like a pit, or even like more like special death metal. Death metal's got some. I saw some death metal shit where people just stomping each other with boots on. I'm like, okay, this shit I can't be part of. Like, do you like those type of shows?
Absolutely. Real quick, I just want to shout this out. I have an uncle that I don't really know too well on a personal level. I've, you know, heard stories about him my whole life.
Pitmaster.
Well, actually, he's a professor of ethnomusicology.
Ethnomusic? Ain't gonna lie.
He's got a PhD in music. He's written books.
That's cool.
I got to read like a whole chapter that he wrote on the
cool.
psychology
that's
of
amazing.
a mosh pit.
That you, as someone like, you don't even know this man that well, but you both have this like connection of music.
Yeah.
Like music just runs in your like. If we were like in the 1700s, you would have been a barge.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Traveling around just singing.
I like right now. Some of the records at my apartment are his. I have his old Iron Maiden albums. I have his old Jimi Hendrix albums.
What?
I have his old Kiss albums. I have his Rocky Horror Picture Show soundtrack.
Wait. He's when you say these things, like these are remixes. Like, what do you mean, like these?
His original vinyl. Like
okay.
His vinyl from the 70s.
Oh, okay.
First pressing. Iron Maiden put out Number of the Beast.
He went to the record store, got it. On them.
Oh no.
Yeah, I was like, wait.
Definitely
I was like, wait, you saying he's on these?
No, I have his copies.
Okay.
So yeah, we have this connection. I listened to a bunch of the stuff that he was listening to, even when I was going through books of his. There were books that I wanted to read, books that I had read in his old catalog. So there's obviously some kind of familial connection there. Yeah, he wrote a whole chapter on the psychology of a mosh pit, and
I'll be right back, but continue on. Sorry, I'm gonna go use myself a drink.
Yeah, there is a whole understanding of a shared vibe in the room, and there's almost with boiling water, there's a boiling point. Right, so it takes one person, a catalyst, to actually, I don't know if it's the catalyst that initiates, the catalyst is going to speed it up, but it takes somebody to initiate the first...
Ignition?
Shove, to ignite the energy.
The Flintstone.
Yes. So they have to, create that first shove. Once that first shove goes, then it's it opens up. And depending on the type of pit, depending on the type of energy, sometimes you get a bunch of people who immediately turn into this impromptu security guard role. And they'll start creating a pit. They'll go around and start backing people up to then allow people to get in there and start fucking shit up.
I've seen that.
Sometimes it doesn't happen like that. Sometimes literally people just start shoving and people have to get out of the way until everybody who's being an asshole or just being reckless has enough room to be reckless.
Yes.
And then the people who are comfortable enough to stand close to that stand close to that. So
I've been in that situation. Yeah. That's so. So that's what is the book called? If you don't mind me asking. And who is he? Is he still Murphy?
No. This is on my mom's side of the family. The man is a burger.
He's a burger man.
My uncle's name is Harris Burger.
That's a great name. I ain't gonna lie.
What do you usually call somebody named Harris? Would you call him Harris or would you call him
Harrison? No.
Shorten it.
Harry. Okay. Harry Burger. Harry Burger. Har. How you doing, Har? No. Ree. How you doing, Ree? No. Okay, but that's interesting. That's actually quite fascinating. I didn't even know this. That's so amazing that the anatomy of a pit, because I've been in a pit before. I'm more of those guys I'm gonna be a bodyguard. I'm just whoa, when I see some shit happening, I'm start pushing people back. That's my kind of role. I'm I know I'm big, but I'm not big enough to really get in there. And I'm not really, the main thing is because I started as a massage therapist literally after high school. Mm-hmm. So I graduated 2011. Summer 2011, I was in massage school. Summer of 2011, I was also in community college. I was just as soon as I finished school, I went back to school. And I was just trying to, honestly, I was trying to become a doctor, but I gave up on that dream. It's too much work. I'm done. I got my bachelor's. I like what I do. I'm good enough at what I do. And I'm still learning a lot, but I still need a lot to learn. But I know what my finishing goal is. And it's not, I don't need my doctors for that. And so it's for me, it's just about understand I don't want to get myself hurt. You know what I mean? And I was hey, people, watch out. I don't want other people to be around me get hurt. And I've been in a situation where I was in, it was damn, I remember it so clearly now in my head. It was the first time we had a student section in years at Aloha Stadium in 3 or 4 years. We had finally negotiated with the stadium and with our student council, hey, can we get a student section in the parking lot? And so we finally got that student section, and we were chilling out there. And there was these two people, not even students, there were just some random people who just came out and hang out with us and were drinking with us, having a good time. And we're all right, cool, come hang out with us. We don't care, we're just hanging out.
Yeah.
And I was in the middle, I was hey guys. And I remember just seeing everyone, just how you seen, the bodyguards push everyone away. And the two square up, and I was in the middle. I was whoa, guys. And as I saw them both swing, and as soon as I saw them both swing, I was I'm back out. And I just barely got missed from getting decked the fuck out.
Yeah, that happens.
Yeah, that does happen. That happens, and I was like, woo! I was trying to be peacemaker, but I almost got beat the fuck up. And you know, it is interesting being in a mob. But like, yes. So did you find the book?
Yeah. So you can find the book by Dr. Harrisberger.
Harrisberger.
The book is called Metal, Rock, and Jazz: Perception and the Phenomenology of Musical Experience.
Metal, rock, and jazz. The experience of
perception.
The perception of
perception and the phenomenology of musical experience.
Damn.
Let me just read a little excerpt here.
That's actually fucking just the title is actually very nice. That's a nice title.
Yeah. More than gesturing bodies, the rock show is a musical performance, and the preceding sections lead us right to the verge of the musical sound. A difficulty in the treatment of musical sound by past ethnomusicological ethnography has been the trope of the musicology sandwich. The juxtaposition of descriptions
musicology sandwich,
situated context, and musical structure at the level of chapters or paragraph subheading. See Chapter 1.
Oh.
While historically this kind of rhetoric served as an important first step in contextualizing musical transcriptions, it ultimately reaffirms the boundary between text and context and disengages musical structures from the practices of perception and action that constitute them. Seeking to emphasize their links, I must pause in my description of the performance event and explore the practices of composition and rehearsal that precede and enable the live performance. Comparing rock and jazz compositional practices in Chapter 4, I shall emphasize the ways such practices are culturally specific.
Ooh.
I'll stop there.
It's so much more. That's actually that's very interesting.
I definitely mispronounced a word or two in the beginning until I hit my stride. I had to.
You had to reread it a few times before.
Well, it's kind of tight font. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just saying.
That was a lot. That was a lot right there. Wow.
So, anyways,
what is the main thing you got from that book besides the mash pit?
Oh, just breaking it down to this understanding that there is a pattern. Right, I did enjoy studying sociology. I went to Soc 101. Part of communications is studying sociology. So, like, looking at people, seeing how people interact with people.
Yes.
And then seeing this book that was sort of dissecting a culture that I was actively a part of while looking through a lens that I was viewing other things through. It was cool. It allowed me to reflect a little bit. I kind of felt like I could validate or invalidate. It surprised me that this guy that I didn't know that well, that I didn't think would listen to this kind of music that I listened to, would actually gravitate towards and be able to describe my experience.
What's the age gap between you guys? Like, he passed away when you were young?
No. My uncle, he's still alive.
Oh. You make it sound like he's dead already. Like, oh, this guy, he was like 40 years my elder.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, I don't have like any kind of relationship with him like that. Like,
no, that's fair.
I know he exists, and as I was learning things, I was learning about him, and he was like my age, looking into the same things. Books on Buddhism, books on levels of consciousness.
Wow.
Books on social movements.
What haven't you talk to him or hang out with him like more?
Just
busy.
My relationship with my extended family doesn't really exist. I grew up with my mom, my dad, my sister, and then like some unofficial brothers, and where I grew up, everybody, we're all cousins. You know what I mean? Like, we're neighbors, we're family. So I had that kind of extended family. City kid.
Yeah, suburban. Is this urban or suburban?
Urban. I was definitely urban.
I don't know Buffalo or.
So Rochester is like a city proper. Million people concentrated, with a variety of demographics, and then you get a little bit more to the outskirts, and in Rochester you have this phenomena they call white flight, where
they have that here in LA too.
As industry moved into downtown, people who were working those factories moved into downtown. White people didn't want to live that close to the people that were working in the factories. They felt like there was a class difference, and so they jumped out to the suburbs, right, to these like outside of urban areas. Yeah. So I didn't grow up in those white areas. I grew up in the city proper.
Okay. In Rochester.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like
but the poor people.
I mean, yeah, the city definitely doesn't isn't on the map for income.
Yeah, that's true. I grew up in the herbs. I grew up in the herbs.
The herbidurbs.
Herbs. Like the reason why my father loves where I grew up is because it's quiet. Like you don't hear helicopters, you don't hear cars, you don't hear planes. It's quiet. You know what I mean? For like the most you hear is like kids on the streets, and that shit goes down. Well, as soon as the sun goes down, they go out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so like I grew up in a very like good community. I like to say. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I grew up in a community. Like even if we did lose, like we were talking about earlier, like if my mama did leave her door open, nothing bad would happen to her. And there's a lot of communities not like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, my community wasn't like that.
No. My community is very, very. The thing is, like, see, your community went through Asian or white flight. Mine's had like white flight with Asian incoming. Cause I grew up in an Asian community. Okay. So like when I grew up, like a lot of the parents who live in my community actually left downtown and like this side of town to go out there because there were better jobs and that. And it's like it was kind of like after the '92 riots, a lot of Asians left downtown and actually went to like Diamond Bar, Chino Hills area. So like I grew up in a very Asian community, and like massage is like for me like I've always had massage in my life. Like even when I was a child, I remember my father would go to like basically Mexican shamans, like Mexican massage therapists. Like they were like the like kind of like doulas, like old women.
Soladoros?
Kind of, yeah. And so it's like one of those things is like he would go to like basically like shamans. You know what I mean? Like when you walk in there was smoke in the air. There was that weird like ointment smell, and like everything was like, oh yes, this isn't a doctor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is like, oh, this is secondary medicine.
Yeah.
So we were
on another level.
No, a lot of levels. So it was like, I grew up with this in my life, and when I was 10 years old, my mom actually went out and bought a massage table from Costco, and that was my first massage table. Oh, and yeah? Honestly, we still have the massage table to this day, and that's massage table is still going strong. It's a good table.
That's what's up.
It was by I think it was built by Masters, like all wood.
Mm-hmm.
Strong, solid. Caught it from Costco's. I ain't gonna shit on Costco's. Costco's got some good shit. Don't matter. It's fucking 20 years down the road. 21 years, 22 years on the road. That shit still works.
Okay.
And so that was my first massage table. And so like the first people I'd massage, like my parents would make me, as a kid, my parents would make me come in and give them massages. As it's like that's what I had to do as a child. I was like, okay, you have to massage your kid, your parents.
Yeah.
And that's just like the Mexican way. This is what we did, kind of thing. Like, did you ever have something like that in your life? Like, growing up, did your parents make you massage them?
No, not at all.
Not at all. They're like, don't touch us.
Honestly, I don't remember. I mean, I didn't get my first massage until I applied to massage school.
Whoa.
It was actually one of the requirements. The school that I went to, like, big difference from the school that I work at. The school that I work at is publicly funded.
You don't have to talk about them.
Anybody can get in. The school that I went to was not publicly funded. It was a private institution. I had to apply. I had to get 2 letters of recommendation. I had to get a massage and have a massage therapist sign off on it because they didn't want anybody enrolling in the program that didn't know, like, what the field, like, what the expectations were. So...
That's interesting. That is interesting.
Prior to that...
Even here, like, that was not even a cheer from my school.
Yeah. I
don't think so.
I had never given a massage... I had never received a massage.
But your friend was a massage therapist. So before that, so like let's start back at that. So your first massage was by your friend.
Yeah, I went to go see her to do the massage that I needed to go to massage school. I didn't even get a massage from her until I was ready to go to massage school. She just had this knowledge of anatomy.
But that's very interesting to me. I'm like. So when you're saying something like that, like, so why was it that you at this 20-year-old, it took you to your 28-year-old, 26-year-old, 20, took you 6 years to actually do it? Like, why did it take you 6 years to finally get a massage?
Oh no, I didn't know that I wanted to be a massage therapist until, again, like I spent many years doing the wrong job.
How many? Wait. What are all the jobs you had? Let's go through the list. What are all the jobs you had before you became a massage therapist?
All right, before I became a massage therapist, if I can remember all of them, there's
to the best of your ability, knowledge, and sober.
So I was a lifeguard. I was a swim instructor.
Okay.
I at one point was a lifeguard trainer. So I was like certifying lifeguards and teaching CPR, AED skills.
Okay.
I worked at an ice skating rink.
That's fun.
I worked door to door selling utilities, getting people to change their natural gas provider.
Is that 4 or 5?
4 to 5.
Is that 5?
Yep. I was also a tutor as soon as I hit high school. I tutored in massage school. I had a German teacher.
Let's jump ahead.
Okay.
Let's go in order. So let's go back to 6. Let's go back to 5 or 6. So you were a swim instructor. You taught CPR as a swim instructor, and then
yeah.
Let's go in order. Let's not go jump ahead.
Okay, if we're going in order, then I got to go back further because I was a tutor in high school. I worked good grades, paid jobs over the summer where I was like a part-time janitor, like buffing floors and scrubbing classrooms and making minimum wage.
See, this is why you like Mexicans.
Yep. At that same time, over the summers, I was working weekends at different festivals. This family would come to town, and they did chicken wraps and lemonade and butterfly fries. So I started working for them.
How did you apply for that job?
They put an ad in the paper.
And you saw it?
Yep.
I've never worked an ad on the paper before.
I got a couple years on you.
Fair enough.
So, yeah, I did that seasonally. Fair enough. And then all this is going to roll together, right? Because then...
So that was 3.
So that's 3. I also...
This is still high school.
Yeah, this is still high school. I also was... You
hustling.
Worked at a rec center teaching and doing, like, childcare. I was teaching sign language.
What kind of child care?
I was teaching sign language and, like, supervising kids in the gym.
So you learned sign language in high school?
Oh, no, I was signing since I was a baby. My father's deaf.
Oh, that's right. Oh. We haven't even talked about that.
Yeah, so I was teaching at the local rec center.
That's part of the reason why we liked each other, because I was signed to you.
So this is already 4 jobs before I turned 16.
Yes.
Then it's
So you a hustler. He's not a businessman. He's a business man.
Yeah. So then I became a lifeguard.
5 lifeguard.
Yeah. Lifeguarding turned into winter employment. So then I was a rink aide.
Okay. 6. Damn. Already. I've had way less jobs. I've had like 1/4 of the jobs you had already.
So then I went back to... So I'm
7.
lifeguarding over the summer. I'm working at the
rink job in the winter.
And then I'm still doing the festivals on the weekends. So I'm actually making sure that I take days off from the lifeguarding job to work the weekend festivals. And this family did...
I'll call that a 7.5. All right, we'll call that a 7.5. Oh, 6.5.
It turns into a full-time gig later down the line.
6.5. Okay.
All right, so that takes me up until I'm 18.
Okay, 6.5.
I used to go get pizza so often at this spot that one day the owner was like, "When are you going to start working here?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm not even 18 yet." He's like, "Come back when you're 18." I walked in on my 18th birthday.
You make him sound like you're a stripper.
Yo, I came back on my 18th birthday. He gave me a free slice of pizza, a t-shirt. Was like, "You start Tuesday." Started delivering pizza when I turned 18.
17.5 now. 7.5 now. We're at 7.5 now. Jobs. Bro, You worked more jobs than I've had girlfriends.
So while I was working at the pizza shop, I'm lifeguarding and working at the pizza shop simultaneously. Mm-hmm. And then
fair. That's a good balance.
Went to community college, dropped out of school. I was like, I could pay to like waste my time and like not learn stuff, or I could be out making money right now. So I went the money route.
Yeah.
So I'm chasing paper. Yeah, and then while I'm delivering pizza, I wind up getting into AmeriCorps, which is a volunteer job, but with a stipend.
So that's a half a job.
I was working 40 hours a week doing social work.
Yeah, so you're at 8 jobs now.
That's a whole job. That was a whole job.
But the thing is, it's half on. It's a voucher.
I was living off of a stipend.
Yeah, exactly. That's not a full job.
It was definitely 40 hours plus, and
but you weren't getting paid 40 hours plus job.
So
that was half a job.
Look, it was full-time work.
The work versus job is different. I will call that a half.
All right. If you want to call it a half, we'll call it a half.
So we're not at 8 jobs. We're not at 8 jobs. Not because that was, you were like, oh, I'm getting paid in community service. Yay.
It was an entire year.
Exactly.
Where I worked 40 hours a week with homeless and runaway youth, doing outreach in the jail.
But not getting paid.
Enough. Not getting paid enough.
Exactly.
The AmeriCorps program allowed nonprofits the opportunity to pay $10,000 for a full-time employee who should be getting at least $30,000 for the cost of $5,000. And I got
4,000
bells on my resume, right? So yeah.
So you got 4,000. What we're saying.
And it came with they matched it with like an education credit. So
okay.
I got 4,000
and education credit.
Yeah. So I used that to go back to school when I did.
Yeah.
But then while I was doing that, I wound up getting employed by one of the houses that I was working at. So now I'm doing overnights at a group home.
10 overnights at a group home.
And now I'm working at the group home while lifeguarding and delivering pizza.
When did you sleep?
Couple hours in the car.
You were halfway homeless.
This carried on for a long time.
I mean, there's a lot of things to do, man. Like, so you're delivering pizzas.
This is all before I'm 21.
You're a lifeguard, and you're working in a halfway house? Would you call it halfway house, or?
No, it wasn't recovery. It was developmentally disabled adults.
Okay, so...
It's like assisted living.
Quarterway house.
We call it that. They were part of the way along.
They're 1/12 of the 1/12 house.
Yeah.
1/12 house.
A fraction of a house. So, anyways, yeah, I worked there.
That was 10 or was that 9?
That was 10.
That was 10.
Yep.
The quarterway house is 10.
Let's see, what else after that?
21. Not even 21 yet.
So. Yeah, not even 21 yet.
You have so much life experience, way more than me. Oh, different William than me. And you haven't even left the country yet.
Yeah, I worked at Rite Aid for a year.
That's fun. 11.
I was miserable. Hated it. In fact, right before I quit, what really pushed me to the edge, like of all the shit that I got into with the manager there, at one point they were like, you really got to start dressing up more for work. I'm like, the uniform's a fucking vest. Really? And he's like, you gotta have a collared shirt or a button-up shirt. I was like, fuck you. I'm getting a tie, and every single day, until I find a better job, I'm gonna tie it a little tighter. And I'm either gonna find a better job or just kill myself in this Rite Aid right fucking now. And I wound up finding a better job.
So you found a better job, so you haven't died yet. So that's good to know that you found a better job. Yep. And that better job after Rite Aid was 12?
So at one point, the people that did the festivals over the summer, I had gone to Israel for a couple months.
Interesting.
Where I worked in a bakery, like on a commune, learned how to like make strudel and fruitcake and his name on these Jewish ear cookies for a holiday. Anyways, so that's another job.
Interesting.
I worked in a bakery.
Bakery's 12.
Okay. Then I came back and went on the road with them. So
you were a traveling baker?
No, I was a traveling chicken wrap maker / butterfly fryer / lemonade vendor.
So 3 years you was a traveling vendor.
Yep.
Interesting. We're 13. Once again, you have at least 10 times as many jobs as I do girlfriends.
Okay, now I'm losing where it is in the timeline.
13.
But at one point, I worked at a factory that manufactured wire brushes and also silk-screened hockey pucks for the Central Hockey League. I used to make like Boston Bruins hockey pucks.
Boston Bruins.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we made the official like fleece blankets for the Texas Longhorns.
Sleeping? Okay.
Yeah.
That
Random little factory in Rochester, New York.
14?
Walker Brush. I think we're at 14.
We're 14 then. That's a 14 factory worker.
Yep. And then I did work a little bit selling utilities door to door.
Chili's are there. Okay.
Um,
Goddamn, 15.
I worked at a farmer's market,
16.
like helping people with their bags, their cars, and stuff like that.
That's cute.
That was a weekend gig
It's nice. That's nice of you.
for like it was like year round.
Fair enough.
And then through this time, like I'm progressing through the ranks. So each summer I come back and I'm in Rochester. I'm lifeguarding and or I'm the captain, like running a swimming pool.
Aye, Captain.
Yeah, I was like 18 with a staff of 7. She was ridiculous. I'm like signing time cards at 18.
But that's not even that. Honestly, I was signing. To be fair though, I lived a different life than you, and so I had to like check time cards and I had to like add up time cards at like the age of like 10, because my mom was like, "This is your job now." Because my parents own a business.
Okay.
And so I had to like do it, and then she'll like double check it, and it's like, okay, you're right. And so like I had to do that shit like at like 10. So I have 8 years on you on that.
Okay.
For now.
And then, there's like the occasional like hustling here and there. There's a snowstorm. If they cancel snow for a snowstorm, like my brother and I, like the hustling kids would get out with shovels and be knocking on doors. I'll shovel your walkway for $10. I'll shovel your walkway for $20.
Yeah.
So we were out like mowing lawns and shoveling
So you
driveways.
was just a hustler.
I was just always like trying to
Hustle.
Yeah.
Impressive. You just always been a hustler. I mean, but that's the hip hop way. Hip hoppers are hustlers. So we only gotten to 16, and you still haven't even gotten to like massage therapy yet.
Yeah.
Like I said, he's got more jobs than I have sexual partners. Like, damn, motherfucker, you just hustling. But there is, like I said, we had different like upbringing. So like,
Yeah.
you just been hustling.
Yeah. There was also like I was an apprentice. I don't know if it would be like because it wasn't paid, but in one of my bands, we were all splitting the rent at a practice space. The practice space was also an art gallery, so I got to know the gallery owner. I knew him from some other community projects. So I was like, boom, can I intern for you? Like, I'll do free labor instead of paying my share of the rent. And he was cool with that. So in that year, I learned how to hang gallery shows, promote shows. I learned a lot about, like, kind of like curating art.
How do you curate art? Because I'm a very, I love art. I love to go seeing art galleries. I love to go to, museums. So when you say curate art, how do you curate art?
So it's seeing the bigger picture, right? A body of work versus an individual piece of work. And there's
what
a
does
couple
that
different
mean?
ways. All right, so...
So I see this picture of art. So the artist comes to me with this large... Like you as a producer, with this large library of art. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Actually, let me say it like this. Because I always say this in my speeches, how do you make this random collection of art into an album? How do you make this random collection of beats and songs into an album? How do you make it tell a story?
So that kind of gets into what is an art exhibit, right?
Yes.
An exhibit, an album, a performance, they're all the same amount of expression, I feel like, right? Like you're creating something for people to experience.
Should it tell a story?
It doesn't have to tell a story.
Okay.
Right? It can just be it could be capturing a snapshot of a period of time of your life. Right? And that doesn't necessarily have to tell a story. But when you look at, Van Gogh had a blue period, right? Where for 3 years, everything that he painted was just blue.
Yes.
Right? And so if you were going to put on an exhibit of his works, you could choose to do like a timeline of Van Gogh and show like a few images from each era, or you could do an exhibition of this era of his life where that's what he's creating and that's what he put out for people to see. So when you're creating an album, you can create like a concept album. Like Kendrick is really big on concept albums.
Yes.
You know, where that really
even Kendrick
has...
Lamar, not Kendrick Lamar. I was going to say J. Cole is also kind of like he makes that kind of like concept album as well.
Like, yeah, a lot of artists have chosen to have one album be like a whole story.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Ghostface did it a couple times. Outkast did it with Idlewild. Like,
yes.
So a lot of artists have chosen like, okay, this is a story. This is like start to finish, like a novella.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then sometimes you get an album like, you know, if I'm going back, Hard Knock Life, right? Like Life and Times of Sean Carter Volume 2. Right? Where
mixtapes.
It's like, not mixtapes. Right? So albums are going to be just a collection of songs that were written in a span of time that have a nice flow from start to finish. Right? More often than not, albums are thought of as an A-side and a B-side. You're thinking about a 20-minute episode.
Okay.
Right? So
20-minute episode. So you think an album should be about 20 minutes?
20 minutes per side.
So an album should be about 40 minutes, give or take.
Like a good album is like 40, anywhere between 45 and an hour. I feel like 45. It's like an appropriate.
That's fair.
Album.
No. So like, there's the whole like, we all know there's the cigarette, not cigarette, but the lighter flick Wayne Carter mixtape albums. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Whereas like you put a hot album there, then there was Lil Wayne out there with a fucking joint in his mouth, fucking lighting up. All right, let's get after it. And I'm gonna go kill it. Whole fucking album. Nothing mixtape. That's a mixtape. Like he can take just other people's albums, and then there, or even just like making just like some like I've heard some albums are just a best of what they got.
So you got to remember, a mixtape is originally a DJ mix tape, right? So a mixtape was the recording of a DJ's mix. You know, so think about like recording an hour of the radio and then having that be all that you have to listen to. So you play that back, you play that back. That's a mixtape.
Okay.
And original mixtapes weren't one artist on 20 different snippets. It was like 20 different artists. It was like everything that was out right now. Here's like a little bit of everybody's music. Here's everybody on, you know, a lot of like reggae mixtapes, a lot of dance hall mixtapes. It was like one rhythm and then a lot of different artists jumping on it, flipping it a little bit. And it was like that mixtape was what you would have heard if you went to the club that night. Right? So then it got to where a DJ would decide to work with one MC, and that one MC would tackle a whole bunch of beats. And so that mixtape was like their B-sides, tracks they were featured on, and, you know, just them rapping over other people's beats. Nothing that they went to the studio with, nothing that was designed for them, but just for them to show off on.
Yes.
Right, and then you had the album, which was like, okay, this is my instrumental, my story, my concept. You know, and then that would always vary. And a lot of times an album would be usually at least 40 minutes. But, you know, you had people that were releasing like EPs of 20 minutes, 7 tracks, give or take. A single is technically up to 4 tracks.
Yeah, but I mean, you have the single, you have like the single, you have the acoustics, you know, not acoustics, but they like
well, then you get like the B-sides and like
B-side,
the
yeah.
Like
I mean,
that.
you can make a single on 4, like 4, I understand it, because you just have like acapella, then you have like with the beat, and then you have the extended version, which yeah, I get it. It's because I love collecting albums. One of my things I like to do is I like to just go through, and I'll just like buy albums, like records, excuse me, not album, just on the art, and just on like the albums. I'll buy things just on like on the person alone. Like one of my biggest regrets is there's one place in Little Tokyo called Ganza, I believe it's called, and they have I don't know if the album is Japanese, but I know the cover, the whole cover is in Japanese. They have Japanese Beatle albums.
Okay.
I haven't heard if the like albums are in Japanese because I haven't bought one of them because they're $50 a pop, and I was like, I don't. You know, because $50 is a lot to buy for a record. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I like to go to thrift shops and like find like records for like $5, $6, $7, $8. Like,
what was the last record you bought?
It's definitely behind me. I usually buy them in groups. Like I buy albums like. So these are all my albums over here.
Okay.
Like, no. This is one of the later ones. I just bought this one. This one's a Hawaii. This is a Hawaii. Okay. These 4 ones were the last 3 I bought for sure. Because I bought all 3 of these in Hawaii.
I was not expecting this trio. So we have Cat Stevens, Dean Martin, and Barbara Streisand.
That's a great just.
No, these are great albums. I was just not. Like, I don't usually think about people finding Cat Stevens albums.
I found that in North Shore, Hawaii. I forget the name of the place, but it's a great spot. But these were each all this together was I found about 4 albums and 4 different other things. It was $18. I was like, fuck, that's it. Yeah, thank you.
Nice.
It cost me more to mail it to myself than it was to buy it.
Oh wow.
So those are definitely the last 4 I bought. I know I bought one more album. Let me see if I can find it. You'll be surprised. I know for a fact you would be surprised. I even have this. This. Read this. 12 Days of Christmas.
12 Days of Christmas.
Just because I was like, why not have a Christmas album?
Yeah.
There's
nothing wrong with that.
I got a lot of albums over here. I've never shared. So this album right here. So this is the Beatles 1962 to 1965, is it?
66.
66. So I found there was another one, but it was in New York, and it was from a different year, and it was a blue cover, and I should have bought it because it would have matched it, but it wasn't. I buy a lot of random things.
Okay, Jackie Wilson at the Copa.
Yes.
Got some James Brown.
Of course. I got some
yeah.
James Green. I got some everything. Oh, this is one of my favorite albums right here. I haven't unpacked it yet.
Okay, some Tyler the Creator.
And then this is some funny shit. I haven't even heard this album yet. I just bought it because of the album cover.
Red Hot Women and Ice Cold Beer. Chuck Wagon and the Wheels. Yeah, some country looking shit, boy.
Yeah, fuck.
Kanye, Heard Him Say, single. All right.
Okay, yeah.
Texas Moon.
Ooh. Okay.
Jimi Hendrix Experience.
Of course.
Dude, I got
a solid collection.
Dude, you do not get asked about this very often, do you?
No, I do not. I'm literally, no one ever asked me about my record collection.
Okay. So we're going to chronicle your whole catalog here.
I still am in the
Johnny Cash,
I have
Jermaine, Neil Diamond.
Yes.
Okay, we got some classical in here. We got some Hondo.
Mm-hmm.
Spike Jones music for people who aren't very hungry.
Half my music. Oh, fuck. Oh,
more Barbara Streisand, Buddy Holly, Leslie Drayton, another Jackie Wilson, some Al Green.
Of course, clean. Oh, wait. So that one I got in New York too. That one right there, I got in New York and read it in the back. I don't know who it's signed to, but it's signed to somebody. Check, flip it.
Yeah, a whole paragraph written on the back. Well, Desmond, old boy, my thanks.
Yeah, whoever Desmond is, he gives you his thanks.
From the depth of my heart, for you, many kind memories. In promoting something on you past.
We out here with records. I need
telekinesis, prestigious, best wishes, jelly grave luck, jolly good luck.
Jolly good luck, probably.
Look, I'm not doing great with the cursive here. I'm gonna blame it on this guy's handwriting.
It is pretty janky.
I'm doing great.
It's janky as fuck.
Yeah. Got some Japanese choir orchestra.
Oh, that shit's kind of crazy.
I bet it is. We got some Thug Life over here.
Of course.
This is
Tala.
Banging for the Street.
Mm-hmm. And then read the back of it. Read the other side.
Oh, okay. We got some Bun B on here,
Yeah.
some 8 Ball and MJG and Jazzy Faye. Okay. All right.
Alright, so give me that rack while I give you this rack back. So give me this, I'll give you this and you give me that rack.
I don't know where you think I'm gonna get all this
Space?
Here you go.
That, like I got a lot. I love records.
I'm seeing that.
Like I like to just collect records. Like I'll just collect things like just for the artwork.
Yeah.
Cause you know what I mean? Cause like sometimes it's just, or even just because of the artist, like Barbara Streisand and shit.
Mm-hmm. All right, and then we got some Mozart over here.
Of course, you have to
Symphony
have.
number 35.
I've seen some more of those symphonies and I almost bought them, but I was like, I'm just poor right now.
Rodgers and Hammerstein.
Dude, that Flower Drum song,
Sam Cooke.
I had to.
Eminem.
Oh, so that one has a great story. So an ex-girlfriend of mine gave me that. And so the second song of this Eminem's album is, so it's the, I'm going to show so this one, Eminem, Marshall Matters. So the second song is Kill You, right? And you know how fucking like graphic that song is?
Yeah.
And right after Kill You is Stan. And like, she just heard like the public service announcement and then Kill You. And she's like, I don't want to hear the rest of this album. I was like, this is literally my favorite Eminem album is Marshall Matters.
Okay.
So because it tells such a great story, you know what I mean? Because the whole story of Marshall Matters is fuck you.
Yep.
That's the whole thing. Is fuck you.
That absolutely. Then we got this Leon Bridges album here.
Oh, I love that album.
Childish Gambino.
Oh, I bought that one to say fuck you to my old roommate.
Purple Rain.
Of course. I got that for like $15.
Nice.
In Little Tokyo.
Good Kid, Mad City.
I bought that.
Abbey Road.
Oh, that was a gift.
It's a nice gift.
I bought that one, and all the records are red. That's my
Swift?
second favorite album.
The Taylor album?
Yes, Taylor Swift
Okay.
Fearless. I love, and all the records are red. I love that album.
Obviously Thriller. More Johnny Cash.
I bought that for my old roommate, cause his name.
Okay. We got some Al Green in here. We got this Willie Nelson.
Willie Nelson.
Diana Ross and the Supremes.
Don't even act like you.
Someday. Someday.
You feel
we'll
some
be
type of way.
together. Yes, we will. Yes, we will. All right. More Charlie.
Charlie. I have no idea who that band is. I haven't even listened to the record yet. I need to.
Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band.
Yes.
Classic. Some Sinatra. She Shut Me Down.
I just love Sinatra.
More Streisand.
Streisand Barbie. Oh,
More-
show this one. I like the album cover though. Like this album cover. Yes, Barbara. Hit me up. You look good, girl. I don't care how old you is or how plastic your face is.
We got some more Mozart. Some Public Enemy.
Of course. Wait. Show the album though. What album is it?
PE.
Yeah. Look at this. Like this is going back. This is that shit you don't find no more.
We have the soundtrack to Sheena.
I love Sheena.
I had no idea. And then last two, we got the Waltzes of Irving Berlin.
Which is nice.
And we got Number One by Pharrell featuring Kanye West.
Oh, style.
Damn.
Those are literally all albums. I need more.
Okay, let's go record shopping.
I feel like albums to me are like people with tattoos. Like people with tattoos are like once you get one, you can't have one.
Yeah, you get hooked.
There's that one spot. Have you been to that one record spot in Atwater Village?
Yeah, pretty sure.
Across the street from that one Morton's, is it? Whatever. It starts with an M, I believe.
Oh no, that spot. I know what you're talking about. It's like in the cut. It's like tucked back, like right around. Yeah, I haven't been there yet.
I went there. That's where I bought that Childish Gambino album. Worth it. They got great prices, great albums.
Okay.
Like worth it albums. You know what I mean?
That's what's up.
Like I like Ginza. I feel like I'm saying it right, but I feel like it's the wrong name. That spot, they have great albums there, and like for good prices too. And there's like a few spots in like Little Tokyo has some great albums. I got that Purple Rain album, Little Tokyo too.
Okay.
So like I love like going out here, antique. What's this one place? I think it's called Antique World or whatever. Here, it's like in Sherman Oaks area on Ventura. There, you can find some great albums there. Like not even just like great albums, but also like good. Because you can find a good album, but that album's like scratched up as fuck. You know what I mean? Like, don't you hate it when you see a good album and you pull it out of the case and you see all that on it? And I was like, oh, this shit hurts me to my core.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, right? Like, yeah, you see that album, you're like, these people don't know how to take care of an album. I ain't gonna lie, this happened to my Kendrick album.
No.
Like, I didn't know how to, but to be fair, I bought that album myself, because I didn't know how to, like, properly put it, like, you had to, like, put the switch, so I thought I had to, like, put it myself. And so actually, like, did it, like, the first time I did it, and I was like, oh no! And then my friend showed me, no, that's not how you do it, you do it like this, and I was like, oh. And after that, I was like, oh, no, fuck my... Like, it takes me a second, like, to mess with my albums now.
Wait, so did you actually, like, scratch the record?
Scratch the Kendrick record. Yeah, the Good Kid, Mad City, I scratched that record.
Do you have, like, a diamond tip needle?
Well, it was just like, no, it kind of like, and just cut it across. Like, it doesn't take that much to cut a record up.
No, I mean, like, when you play it back, does it...
You can hear it.
You can?
You can.
Damn.
I listened to it a few times afterwards. It's like, ugh. And it's not. It goes over like 3 songs too.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And you hear because it hits that like one spot and hits it. You know what I mean? So it like hits like 3 songs. And it's like, ugh. It hurts me to my core. Hurts me to my core on that one side. I forget what songs it is right now because I like it's the A side. It's the A side of the Kendrick record. Yeah. I hurt myself.
So what constitutes an album, you say? So sometimes
there's 2 different types.
Yeah, sometimes there's a concept album. Sometimes it's just a collection of songs.
It's either A for me. It's a concept album or it's a collection of songs, which I feel like it should. Those are the only 2 real like definitional albums. Cause some dudes like they just make an album and they're just like blah blah blah. They're just going after it in the studio. There's not really a story. It's like a party album. It's like just like this album is like okay, this is all the songs they have. Like listen to half of Drake's catalog is just like sad boys albums. You know what I mean? Hold on. Excuse me. Oh, excuse me. Sorry about that.
No, it's all right. I'm glad you wanted to make sure that you had some silence building up to and after those sneezes. I can't wait to see what you do with the samples.
Hacha.
Yeah. It's gonna be hot.
It's hot. Yeah. But no, so like with you, when you comes to constructing like, because like your last ones are like mixtapes, right? You said.
Yeah. So I did like 2 EPs that go together. So each one was about 25 minutes, and for me, it's like I released like half of it later. So I hear it as like one continuous piece. And I had thoughts initially of like re-releasing it and maybe doing a vinyl release with like, part 1 on one side, part 2 on the other side.
Yeah.
Vinyl releases get expensive.
You do.
I don't really have like a lot of demand for it, so it would just be some like self-satisfying financial investment.
You might as well just do it for yourself and buy one.
The cost of buying one, like,
it's worth it.
Doesn't, yeah.
It isn't. It's like $80. It's like $8 worth it.
If it was $8, I would snatch that up.
80.
You want to press vinyl? You're looking at like hundreds because they have to actually cast the metal plate that they're going to use as the mold for the wax. So when you hear about like the dub plates, like that's like the initial recording, and they can make as many records off of those plates as they can, and sometimes they would actually take and like smash those original plates so there could be like no more reproductions. 10,000 was the most that they ever made of that.
Yeah.
And so like,
well, that's why a lot of like original prints are like so like valuable.
Yeah. Like
even going through my albums, like I have no idea like when any of them were made.
Yeah.
How any of them were made. Like I just bought them because I bought them. Half of them, like the only ones I kept in plastic wrap is because my old last roommate said like, don't open it, it's going to destroy the volume. I was like, no, I want to look at it.
Yeah.
Like those Taylor Swift ones. Like, I want to look at the Red Album. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm going to play them later, but not right now. But, like, eventually I'm going to play them, and I'm going to press the button so then that way I don't put my finger on it. Because that's where I fucked up. I was going like, you know what I mean?
Depends on the table. Some of them you push a button. Sometimes you have to be the one to do it.
Yeah, mine is the one that I have here, you can press the button and do it for you.
Yeah.
Which is better because I'm honestly now I'm kind of like scared. After I fucked up my Kendrick album, I was like, fuck.
Just,
I'm scared to play them because I don't want to fuck them up.
Now that you know what the risk is, then approach it like you would a client.
Fair enough.
Feel it out. Your hands are literally made for this. Like, you've honed in this skill more than anything.
But I'm still scared. Like,
you gotta believe in yourself, bro.
It's not just that. It's just, I don't know. I don't believe myself. I just rather the machine do it. Like, this is what I mean. AI, do it for me.
Attention, everybody. This has all been leading up to our GoFundMe account for Blaize. And we're gonna get him over his fears. We're going to let him embrace his quality of touch and translate his massage skills to his record playing practice. So please, send what you can. Good. Send it via Venmo, Zelle,
PayPal,
Patreon,
Cash App,
Vallarta gift card.
Especially Vallarta's.
Clearly Costco works.
Costco, oh my.
Kirkland brand, anything.
Please, of course, I ain't gonna lie. Those hot dogs are them Kirkland hot dogs.
Not kidding.
They fire.
Please
support
this young man and his dreams.
I'm young enough, man.
Yep.
Yeah. So when it comes to you, like, so let's go back to the musical sense. Like,
okay.
What, like, you just make beats, and sometimes you just get in the moment of making beats, and like we talked about this beforehand. Like, sometimes you have this like stockpile of instrumentals that you just have nowhere to put. Like, this isn't good enough for me. This needs some other person's flow. Like, how does that happen? Like, how do you feel like when you have that stockpile of beats and you're like,
where did that come from?
Where did that come from? Not only where did it come from, but like, how do you feel like it should probably be distributed? Just like, how do you like, oh, this person's worthy of this beat? Like, how does that come about?
I work out beats the same way that I just kind of like sketch in my sketchbook. You know what I mean? Like, I'll turn on my computer. Sometimes I'll have an idea in my head going into it, and I assemble a drum set that fits the sound that I hear in my head, and then I just kind of work around that. Sometimes I have, not very often, but sometimes I'll have a melody in my head, and then I'll come up with a melody, set a tempo for it, and then depending on like what instrument that melody sounds best on, then I'll work with the drums to kind of match that instrument. And sometimes I'm just bored and I'm like clicking through drums, like, let me hear like what different kind of basses I have, and I'll hear something and then I'll start to like build that kit, and once I build that kit, then I can like start to play with the tempo, start to build a rhythm, and then build a bass line around it. And then from there, it's like, all right, how much more does this need until I can't do anything else without vocals?
Oh, okay,
right?
okay.
So like I build a whole song.
Yeah, because you have albums that are just beats.
Yeah. You
have albums that are just beats, and you put like blah 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 beat XXY tempo. You know what I mean? And so like, and that's one of the things I love about you is like, I was like, my homeboy is like, oh, show me some of your stuff, and I was like, well, what do you want to hear? You want to hear him rap, or you want to hear his tempos? Like, he can make you like an album based on the tempo, which is kind of like what I called you up for, because I was like, okay, he does this kind of temp thing, like he understands like this kind of like, I want like this certain thing. It's like, and you know how hard it is within the first 1.5 hours of working us on this one tempo, on this one song. For me, it's like, fuck, it's so much work. It's so much, and then which I love. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what part of it is work? What part of it is fun? Because like, it is a lot of work trying to make a song work.
So that definitely changes depending on if you're working by yourself or if you're collaborating with someone else.
Yes.
Right. So again, like my creative process coming to beats more often than not is like, I start to build a drum kit. I start to put a beat together, and then like the instrumentation and the sound kind of builds around that. I don't usually write lyrics without a beat first. I used to do that. It doesn't work. Trying to like come up with if I have I might be able to come up with a cadence, but like I immediately have to get something to write to, so that I can stay with it. Otherwise, like I'll drift off, and I'll have like one kind of like cadence, one pace of rapping, and then I might have a phrase where I say something a little bit more offbeat or off-brand or is drawn out for emphasis, and then when I try to come back around to it, I don't realize that now I've actually written something outside of the pocket, and now when I go to put it over a beat, it doesn't work.
I can see what you're saying from that, because I suffer from the same like deficiency. Like I write so much in poetry that like I put my poetry over my own beat in like one stanza, or listen to it from like this song combining with that song, and like when you put it all together, it just doesn't make sense when you say it out loud. But as like when you say it in my own head, I was like, oh my god, like it's so beautiful in my head, it's so amazing in my head, but like saying it out loud, it doesn't compute, it doesn't feel right, it doesn't sound right.
Yeah.
So like how is it that you like overcome that, like, I don't want to say like in insecurity or in inferiority, but like that like disconnect between our like brain and how it comes out.
Well,
like, you seen those pictures of like, this is how, like in your head you draw the horse like this. When you draw the horse, it looks like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Honestly, I think that's what practice is for. That's learning your craft, that's learning your tools. It's the ability to refine so that your muscles can carry out what you envision. Right? So the same way with massage, the same way with painting, and I've seen your paintings. The same way
Not that good.
The same way with poetry, the same way with comedy, the same way with beats, the same way with
rapping, singing,
waxing a car. Like you do it over and over again until you don't have to think about the actions.
Yes.
Your body can just carry out what you're thinking.
And I say the same thing. Like everyone's like, oh, how can it be 007? How can it be what was it, Bourne? What's the name, Bourne?
Jason Bourne.
Jason Bourne. Like it's all just muscle memory. It's all like, blah, 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 blah. Like, you as a massage therapist, you as a rapper, like, because I've seen your raps, and your raps are fucking great.
Thank you.
So, like, every time I listen to you rap, there's at least, for every 1 minute of rapping, there's like 5 or 7 moments I'm just laughing, because you're just hilarious. You funny. And, like, I've told you, it's like, you honestly are a natural born comedian. Like, you can... And, like, the way you talk about things, the way you, like, make situations, like, line up, and it's like, set up punchline, set up punchline, set up punch. It doesn't matter with comedy or rap, it's all, like, da-da-da-da, bump, da-da-da-da, bump, da-da-da-da, bump. You just put it, like, it's not like that's the formula, but the formula is da-da-da-da, bump, da-da-da-da, bump. And same thing with rap and comedy, which I always notice is, like, the best ones know how to do da-da-da-da, bump. Bump, or like dun 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 bump, dun 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 bump, or whatever flow cadence it goes to it. Like Snoop Dogg, like he has his own flow, like snizzle whizzle lizzle whizzle fizzle with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's what I love about
They
Snoop.
say that like timing is all about comedy.
Yes, same thing with rap. Rap is all about like timing.
Comedy is all about timing.
Yes, but isn't rap not?
No, I said it backwards the first time.
I'm dyslexic, so I didn't catch it.
And we've come
full circle. But like I said, like same thing. Rapping, comedy, it's about pacing. It's about timing. It's about getting the right cadence.
Yeah.
And like, what are some tips that you have for people who are like trying to come up in the rap industry? Like, how should they like try and like make the raps, formulate the raps, think about like what the raps are, because there's so many different ways of rapping and like cadence of raps. So like, how should they like like you said, like even the show with we saw with Jimmy Kimmel and Dr. Dre. Dr. Dre said, "Forget about Dre." Eminem came into the album with the whole melody and the whole flow and everything, where he says most of the time I just come up with the instrumentals and then the rapper comes up with it. Like, how do you feel is the best way for you to work?
So I've collaborated extensively with a really good friend of mine named Brandon Ev White, who, we started doing hip hop together when we were real young, and we talked about working together on an album, and it was a real growing process for the two of us because we had
as he should be.
We had done art together. We had gone places. We were tight, but then working
what
together.
What age were you at this time?
Oh man, we met. I think I was
because like we said, you have it before the age of 21. You had 16 jobs, so we only got there 1/4 of your jobs by then.
Yeah. I was definitely employed. I think we got to know each other. Was it sophomore year of high school? So 02. I was 14.
Damn, young.
You were kids.
You were kids. You were a sophomore in high school.
Yeah. Yeah, we were definitely. So I had my first car when I was 16.
You hadn't had your first night yet.
I had not, but I did have a car.
Which is close enough.
Which I paid for myself.
Hey, that's a baller fucking move. Buy his first car on his own, wasn't family paid for. Yeah. That's a baller move. Ain't gonna say no. Don't let no one say baller move. Bought my first car. That's a bar.
Yeah, so I bought my first car when I was 16. It was a 2-door hatchback Honda. And him and me and the homie Jordan would jump in. Austin was there too. The four of us would drive around with a burned CD of instrumentals and freestyle and just drive around literally let the CD just loop, and we were rapping about things as we were driving by them. That reminds me of
Kendrick Lamar. It was his Good Kid, Mad City when you know how they have the intermissions and the whole album. He's like, "Hey yo, Kendrick, we got a fresh car and a whole bunch of mixtapes. Let's get at it." Yeah, a whole bunch of a whole bunch of instrumentals.
Yeah,
he said we had a whole bunch of instrumentals. Let's get after it. I was like, damn, that's a bar.
So we go way back.
Yeah,
and he was always doing hip hop. I wasn't doing hip hop for a long time, so it didn't really come up for us to work together. He did play trumpet at one of the shows with my band. Cool. That was cool. But we weren't really musically collaborating until I started making beats. And then him being one of my best friends, I was like, yo, check this out, would you want to rap to this? And the first time that I was excited about making music, sharing it with people, and he was somebody that I wanted to represent some of my instrumentals. And it took many years. We finally finished a project. He hasn't released it yet. Keep an eye out for it. It will be coming eventually. It's called 30 Rock.
Yeah, y'all been friends for 20 years, and he's finally gonna put out an album with you on it.
We spent.
That's how long this shit took.
Yeah,
that's amazing. But you know what? At least y'all reconnected and put that shit out.
Yeah.
Because it's gonna be come out sometime this year. And do you know the name of the album or the project?
So the project is called 30 Rock.
Okay.
This year would be cool. However, I know that Brandon is really set on putting this one out on vinyl, so that might take a little fundraising time. But it's 10 tracks, and this really challenged
where can you find the album, or
oh, you can look up Brandon Ev White on all streaming platforms.
Brandon Ev White, and we want to get the album. And we want to get the vinyl.
Track How You Maga.
How You Maga.
Yeah, he gets real political.
Okay. Okay. I haven't really heard
you. He's pursuing his PhD right now. Actually, okay. He's a scholar.
I heard a lot of your raps, and a lot of your raps is not very political. You're not political in your rap, right? Are you, or do you feel like you are?
I dropped a couple political tracks.
Yeah.
I dropped a whole track on homelessness and how we get there and how we treat the homeless. I had a whole track on. I wrote a track about what was going on with the water crisis in South Dakota.
South Dakota, not Flint.
Not Flint.
Okay.
Interesting. Before that hit, there was pipeline being
the
built
pipeline
through.
distribution. I remember that in like the early 2010s.
So like I was writing about that. You know, I grew up listening to Rage and definitely like politically minded. The punk that I wrote was very political. Some of my hip hop does get like.
Well, do you feel like you still are political rap or no?
It shows up here and there.
Here and there, but not. It's not your major arc.
I don't think anybody knows me for it, but it's something that I do not hesitate to put into a song.
Fair enough. And it shouldn't be. Because, doesn't matter what your musical profession, art form is, like, all of it has an objective, like, meaning towards it, even if it is or is not political. I mean, even, like, remember that bull? I think it was in Times Square? Mm-hmm. Or, like, right there around the time, like, in, not Times Square, but, like, the bull...
Wall Street?
Yes, the bull in Wall Street in New York. And then somebody put a little girl in front of it, and they said, oh, this, like, takes away from, like, my meaning of art from the bull and the Wall Street. It was, like, mid-2010s or whatever. And I was like, I don't really care. But the artist who made the bull really cared. And I was like, should you care? But it does change your art. Because, like, I've had, like, because, like, you see that picture over there that I had, you folks can't, but he can't. But that picture I have with the eyes and the guardian and all that. And it's called the Eye of the Dragon.
Okay.
Excuse me, Eye of the Tiger. And so this, the painter wrote that painting based on the poem. And so the only thing I want to change about the painting is I want to get glow-in-the-dark eye paint and paint over all the eyes I can find on the painting. The difference is I'm just too scared to paint on it. That's why I haven't done it, because I'm scared. Yeah. But, like, it would look nice. You know what I mean?
Stencil it.
Stencil, because it's kind of like the whole aspect of what the painting's going for is, like, when the darkness, all you see is the eyes staring back at you. And that's what it comes down to. It's like, it doesn't matter how bright you are. It's like, when the darkness, the eyes stare back at you. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, but Casey, like, what are some things that, like, create this, like, creative mindset behind your, like, artwork? Like, what drives you? Like you said, you only have 2 political songs. Mm-hmm. So what drives you, like, musically?
It's very moody. Sometimes I make music that
moody.
So part of it is that, like, I've always made music that I want to listen to. Like,
fair.
I make music where I wish I could be in the crowd. I know it almost sounds like a little narcissistic, but, like, I know what I like in a good pit. You know, I know what I like as somebody attending a concert, like that feeling of, like, the swell, the build, the tension, the high energy, the mellow. And so sometimes when I write music, it is very much with that intention. So I've written tracks that I recorded, but when I did live, I would perform with a different instrumental because there's a different energy for the performance of it.
Wait, explain that. Explain that. Like, what situation has that happened for you? Like, how have you made a song and then you listen and you'll play it with a different instrumental live?
There's a song that I made a music video for called 2.5 Lions. Mm-hmm. And
which band was this with?
This is Rappin'.
Okay.
So Dreadful Operator, 2.5 Lions. It's like the first video I made. It's all black and white. And if you watch it, it's like a 5-minute video. There's like an introduction to it. And the beat is like... It's like really slow, and kind of like visceral. But... when I would perform it, like, that didn't really fit the energy of my set. So I had a different instrumental that was a little bit faster, and those bars still worked. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so, like, definitely, like, faster, a little higher energy, a little different. Like, the the album version had a lot of like warped vocal samples. The live version was like heavy on the horns and the snare, and it was like a much more hype track, right? So like sometimes I write with the intention of I'm gonna perform this. I have some songs that I've performed live that I've not recorded that I'm not gonna record. Like I wrote those for something different. I didn't write those to be listened to, and they're not gonna have the same effect.
Well, why haven't you just made a live album then?
Because it's not really I don't really feel like I have a live set that I need to capture and put out like that. That's just
I don't understand that. Well,
I mean, like, so if you look at, a lot of people who do improvisational music, right, you perform at a level where anything that you come out is going to be a good experience, and people are going to want to, like, replay that. So, when you get up there, you hear a lot of, like, jam bands or jazz artists. They can improv and they can put out an album that's not going to sound like anything else that they've done, and it's going to be like literally capturing something that was never done before and could not be done again the same way. There are some live albums that have that feel, right? There are some live albums that is just like a greatest hits album.
Fair.
You know what I mean? For me to record a live set of mine and put it out, I don't right now feel like I could get the quality that I would want and have the energy to put out songs that I've already put out with a live version. Like, I don't know that I would do anything different enough, because I don't do that for every single song, right? That's like a song here or there, almost like a remix, I guess.
Well, how many songs do you how many songs do you remix for like your live audience versus it being for like the album? Like, is it just the one song, or is it like?
I don't know. There's probably been like 7 or 8 songs that I've done that for.
Why? Why do you do that?
Again, like, it's for there was a show that I did where I only had a limited set time. And so I wanted to do a bunch of songs, but the songs as I originally had them were slower and drawn out. But this is the message. This is what I wanted to say that day. And so I sped up a couple of the beats. I tweaked the bass a little bit on some of the beats.
Well, as a man who produces his own song, like, you can do that, but easierly than a guy who just like, oh, I'm just a rapper, or the producer produced my song. So like, how does that differ from a guy who's like, fuck, this is my beat, should I just increase the tempo?
Well, again, what's the energy that you want to cultivate at your show?
Yes.
You know what I mean? So I've seen dudes that literally have a 13-minute instrumental that they give to the DJ, and it's one 13-minute track, but it's like 3 instrumentals like broken up, and an artist is going into that set saying, this is my set tonight, I'm doing these 3 songs, they flow in together, it takes this much time, that's what I'm doing. I used to piss off a lot of DJs because they would say, like, send us your beats ahead of time, and I would send them like 10 beats because they'd be like, which ones are you going to do tonight? And I'd be like, I don't know, go with number 1 first. Like, they don't want to do that, right? Like, they're not trying to play live to the crowd. Most of the time, the DJs of those kinds of shows are like, what's your set? I'm going to play the instrumentals for your set.
It's easier that way.
Do your thing. But for me, like, the first several shows that I did, I would bring several beats, and then, like, depending on the energy, if I got to the show and it was more of a spoken word vibe,
what you talking about
then I would be like, play, start with beat 2, go to this one next, go to this one next. And if I got to a show that was like a little bit more hype.
Have you DJed before?
Yeah. And
so, like, do you feel like you would be more understanding of that, or you're less understanding of that? Like, because there's sometimes where you just want to be like, okay, just like, bro, just give me a set list. I don't care. This is what we're doing. And versus like you as a person sending me 10 songs to play, and it's like play 4, play 7, play 2, and then play 2 and play 1. You know what I mean? Does that make you feel? What makes you more comfortable as that person in that situation?
So if I was DJing a show like that, it would really come down to what I agreed with the promoter beforehand, right? Okay. Am I getting paid to just play instrumentals? Am I getting paid to do a DJ set first and in between?
What is the difference between what's the difference between playing instruments versus being a DJ set?
So usually if a DJ does a DJ set, they're going to spin like the event starts once they start spinning. Like, all right, everybody, come up to the stage and let me see if you remember this one. And they actually start like playing a playlist, cutting in between, making announcements, doing crowd engagement, that kind of thing. Yeah, so like that would be like a DJ set where they're actually performing live. They're choosing the order of the songs, and again, there's like interaction with the crowd. They're building up to something, and then when the artists are coming on, then they're playing the artist beats. But then in between artists, the background noise, they may keep a DJ set going. They may just be playing some like random background music, and then some DJs like still cut. Right, and they have like the controllers. Shout out DJ Code Red. Did a bunch of shows with him.
Code Red.
Yeah, Code Red. My big ginger brother. He's huge guy, big energy, big heart, and like nasty on the turntables.
IG is Big Red.
DJ Code Red.
Code Red.
KODEREDD. You can see him tagged in some of my stuff. Definitely check him out. But like when I was doing a show, Code Red, like I've seen Code Red scratch, so I would plan my set like, yo, I got there's like a break in the second track and the third track where that's all you to scratch. And like he would scratch over some of the songs where I I built that into the set because I knew that was the energy going into that show. So
that hip hop kind of like dun 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 down, like just getting like the funky down, funky down.
Yeah, like chopping, screwing,
scratching, chop, screwing,
transforming. So all that stuff, right? So my advice to somebody who's kind of figuring out their set is like, what do you feel comfortable opening, closing with, and how do you want your time to be experienced?
What time do you usually get? What time do you usually get? How much time being a DJ do you get? Because there's different types of like DJing sets.
Right.
Like you can do like a birthday party, a Christmas party, or you can be part of like a whole like crew where you're like, oh, this producer gets this much time, this producer gets that much time. So what type of like situations do producers or like DJs get? Like what are opportunities for there being a DJ?
Okay, this is like totally taking a whole curve to the conversation.
Well, it's part of the curve.
Okay, so
it's part of like understand what does it actually mean to be a DJ / producer.
So
because people think it's like I want to be a producer, and as we said, and as Dr. Dre says, like producer has a broad term. Mm-hmm. And if you want some more, you got it right here. I already got you hooked up. Shit. Yeah. So what is your term of producing? What is your term of DJing? Like there's like you can do DJ for mitzvah, a birthday party, a fucking Christmas party, a fucking holiday party, a festival. What is the term DJing, and what are the broad terms of it and the aspects of like?
Okay.
What does it mean?
So comparing it to anything else, I view a musical producer the same way as a film director. The producer,
Dr. Dre said those are different things.
You're seeing the bigger picture and you're helping create the bigger picture. Mm-hmm. There's a beat maker, and often, the beat maker will work side by side or do production, right? Because part of production is also the actual logistical production, the mixing down and putting things together. So depending on what level of industry you're in, if you're like in the very professional, high money stakes industry, then a producer is going to be somebody who's, again, closer to a director, but not going to be the sound engineer who specializes only in sound, the art director who specializes only in art, and the co-writer for the songs who specializes only in lyrics, right? So you've got like that level of producer, again, is more like a director.
Yes.
And then as you get to like the more independent level, a lot of producers are people who make beats and work with artists, and also because
they can mix the beats. I.
Yeah, like I'd be producing a track for you.
Yes.
Because I'm gonna create the beat, but I'm also gonna help you with the recording process and make sure that it sounds right.
Yes.
To be released.
Because that's what we're trying to do right now.
Yeah.
So like I said, everyone, we're gonna make for my mother for her birthday. She doesn't watch this show, so it doesn't matter. But if she doesn't watch the show, love you, Mom. But it's gonna be called My Favorite Pillow, and we kind of like the hardest part. Like I said, is like I haven't come up with a flow with it.
Yeah.
And like you've helped me a lot coming up with a flow for this song, and like helped me with the most part. Like you were 50-50 with me in this project, of like you're my favorite pillow, and like trying to come up with the rhythm, the rhyme, and like this is kind of the flow I'm going with, and it's hard. So like it is hard. Like you have this one idea for what the rapper's saying, or the musician, or the artist. I should just say the artist is saying like they want this, and you're like, okay, this is what I'm thinking you're saying.
Yeah.
And then this is what you're giving them. And like, no, that's not what I'm saying. I want to say more like this, and then like, and you have to like combat those ideas.
Yeah.
How difficult is it to like actually come up with that happy medium of like, I love it, you love it, we love it.
I mean, I think that's not anything that you can control. I think that's chemistry, right? Like that's what Gangstar had, that's what Wu-Tang had, that's what Rage has, that's what any good band, any good.
So the 5 bands beforehand, they didn't have that.
We put out some. We had some of it. Some of the bands that I was in, we put out things that we were like really proud of, that we, co-collaborated on. But I think that you can't force chemistry. It's sometimes like there's been like long-awaited collaborations and like they never came to fruition. It's because these two people may have like kind of joint styles, but if their work ethic is too different, if their vibe, their intention,
like Kendrick and J. Cole, like they've only put one album together or songs together, which was Forbidden Fruit that I know of. Mm-hmm. After Forbidden Fruit, what songs does Kendrick and J. Cole have together? I don't know. That's the only album. That's the only song I know they have, which is on 2014. And Kendrick doesn't even rap on it. He just does the chorus.
So
like again, things like that.
That might be more of like.
And like we as hip hop heads, mm-hmm. I want to see a J. Cole and Kendrick song, if not album. If I had a Kendrick, a Jay-Z, Kanye, fucking Drake, J. Cole album. Yeah. Like a whole album where they just set together all 4 of them. Just like those are, in my opinion, are the like top 4 hip hop heads right now. All 4 of them sit together like, we're gonna make this album. Mm-hmm. I'd be here for it. Like I feel like they would destroy the industry.
I mean, again, you got to think about
that's my dream. That's my dream.
If these people are gonna work together, you got to really think about the chemistry that they're gonna have behind the scenes.
Yes. It's just hard. Because you hear so many bands, you love them. Eagles, fucking Mick Jagger, and what was Mick Jagger in?
Rolling Stones.
Rolling Stones. I was like, yeah.
Yeah. Pause for dramatic effect.
I was like, which was gonna because Rolling Stones, any other band, like they always break up because of the emotional things.
Yeah, and the bands that stay together are the bands that were,
even
able
the Beatles
to truly like remain friends and retain an appreciation to be around each other for a really long time. So
it's just hard sometimes once you get to that fame and that level, because you're just everyone loves you. I mean, when you start out, everyone hates you.
If the only uniting factor between artists is money, it doesn't usually work out.
No.
Right? And so like there can't just be, I paid for your services, make this good.
Yeah.
Right? Like that doesn't work. So, the album that Brandon and I worked on for so long, I say like it was a learning process for me, because I've never, until that point, gotten an instrumental that I had put out there back with requests and then not known how to interpret what they want to hear. And so it took a lot of us figuring out how to find like the language that was overlapping, and then being like, okay, can you give me an example of another song that has that vibe?
Yeah.
And then he would send me a song and I wouldn't be able to find it. I'd be like, wait, do you mean like this? And I'd send him another song, and like sometimes it would be like 5 songs back and forth until we finally were like, oh, okay, that feel in this breakdown right here is what you're looking for the intro. Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
And so sometimes that happened really fast. Sometimes that took months to flush
And I
out.
felt like that happened between us, even within that 1 hour of us working on the intro of this song that we were doing together.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was like, okay, feel these, like, this genre, that genre, this song and that song is like, I kind of want this flow. I was like, oh, that's too hard, that's too soft. Almost something a little bit like in the middle of that. And like when it comes to making a song, it's like feel like both of you kind of get into that like harmony in the middle thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like because like you have this idea, I have this idea. And
You
like,
go high, I'll go low.
yeah.
Harmony. At the same time, 3, 2, 1. Harmony. Fucking golden.
Right there, amen. But like, that's what I'm trying to say.
Please, our GoFundMe is not fucking around.
We need your funds.
Yeah, we have a couple potential day job quitters who are looking for any other way to make this work and pursue our dreams.
Remember, horizontal for attention, vertical for results.
Which is exactly how we'd like you to stack money up for us.
Amen.
That's all we were referring to.
Vertical, not horizontal. But Casey.
Yeah. Stack.
Damn, we've already been here for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. 2 hours. 2:10. 2 hours and 10 minutes. Casey, I love you. So
then I became a massage therapist.
Then you became a massage. Remember you guys like the whole like we've talked about so much. Casey, this is why I love you because like we have so much like you're like Demarius, who's also he's a comedian / massage therapist who we've had on the podcast, and I know if you had met him, you would love him too because he's also a great person. You know what I mean? I just say it's like I need to have you on again. Like you and I have like so much content, so much shit to talk about. Like we barely just scratched like a toenail of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's definitely
like we haven't even got to like your European excursion. You actually become a massage therapist. What is like actually be a massage therapist? Like Casey, like you are one of my favorite people.
Thank you.
You know what I mean?
Really excited to hear more of
about
your tales
yourself
as well. Like I want to know what Hawaii was like.
The worst part about it was no In-N-Out burgers.
That was the worst part?
Yeah.
Not the sleeping and paying to go to college on indigenous land? That wasn't the best part?
My parents taught me with that. I got some government support. So good.
Were there luau's with like pig roasts and pineapple? That's all I
went to a few. So like one of the best ones is Kailua Ranch. So if you get a chance to go to Kailua Ranch, take the whole tour. Go to where you can see where they put the dinosaur foot stamps. Go to the luau. Go to every single fucking one of the Polynesian little cabins they have. Because, like, they don't talk just about Hawaiian Polynesian. They talk about, like, all the other little like New Zealand, Australian, and all the other little, like that, like, Pacific Islander culture.
Mm-hmm.
They talk about that. And so, like, that's so much different than, like, what you actually get. And, like, one of the favorite things about, like, being in Hawaii, actually going to the University of Hawaii, this is the funniest part, is one of my teachers, her ancestor was actually James Cook, the one who, like, the first, like, guy who, quote unquote, discovered Hawaii.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Wow.
The European who discovered Hawaii, that was her, like, great grandfather, so that was one of her ancestors.
Okay.
And she would, like, the whole series, like, you can even find her on documentaries, like, fuck Cook, he's an asshole, he's a shithead, he's a piece of shit. Like, basically, that's what she said about him. I love it. So, Tread, if people want to, like, pay you to get your beats, because you have amazing beats, you have amazing bars, how should people contact you?
Find me on all platforms, Dreadful Operator. I'm the only dreadful operator out there. You can go to my website, dfodigital.com, and through there you can access, I got, a lot of videos on YouTube that I put some effort into,
Amen.
I've definitely got songs up on SoundCloud and Bandcamp. More is on my Bandcamp than on my Spotify because
Spotify has those regulations.
Yeah, clearing samples and just I don't know. I feel like Bandcamp is a little bit more anything goes. It's like the swap meet of internet music.
Wait. So is that like the what was it, SoundCloud?
Yeah, similar to SoundCloud, but SoundCloud you can only put up limited amount of content. SoundCloud is more about like building an online streaming platform, where Bandcamp is like an online marketplace. So I
never used either.
I've got like a dozen albums up on Bandcamp.
Okay. Dozen.
Yeah, dfodigital.com.
DF Digital?
Or dfodigital.bandcamp.com. If you wanna collaborate, just shoot me a message on Instagram. That's probably the easiest way, at Dreadful Operator.
Yeah, Instagram, Dreadful Operator. He's like one of the best fucking producers, rappers I know, seen, collaborated with. I mean, you're like my 68th favorite person.
I didn't know I made it that high on the list.
I'm just kidding. You're
Popular butterfly.
You're more like 45. You're more like 45. You in the 40s. You in the 40s.
I'll take it.
You in the 40s. I love you. It's because you're a great person, great collaborator. And you just you understand what it takes. People's that's not what it is. That's not what it is. You know how to gauge what we're talking about and feel the vibe, because you will love her music, and the same way I'm a lover of music. I love music. People's because I curate my massage playlist, and people's Blaize, when I listen to your playlist, I'm going through an adventure. I was you're welcome.
That's awesome.
Because I do have so many different things. I have especially Japanese RPG songs. You know what I mean? I have anime intros and outros. I have JRPG songs. I have string
string
quartet songs of remixes. I have lo-fi remixes of songs. I got SpongeBob on my shit. You know what I mean? People's I got 6. Woo! What I need to pass? Spouse says 6. Woo! 600. You 600 to pass. You got 6.
Jeez.
But it's lo-fi mix. And I like this lo-fi mix, string quartet, piano keys, and even classical music lo-fi. I got a lot of classical music lo-fi.
Really we checked out your classical vinyl collection, so
yeah, I'm very vinyl, retro kind of guy. I like to take old things and see I really love whatever classical mix / lo-fi mix. Barbara Streisand lo-fi.
Oh, that'd be cool,
bro. You have no idea. I've found some Barbara Streisand lo-fi. It's on Spotify. It's fire.
Actually, so a friend of mine and I, K Offbeat is an amazing man. We've known each other since kindergarten.
Damn.
He had beats on Adult Swim way back in the day.
What? You don't know homeboy from
pre-Flying Lotus. He did some beats with
that's
Adult
hardcore
Swim.
Though.
He worked with independent zines. He's helped open a lot of companies. He actually, right now, there's a whole underground scene of people that do professional degree photography of action figures and almost fan fiction stories and stuff. And he actually got on with a guy that puts out trading cards. So I have a deck of my friend's cards that he's part of with posed action figures. This shit is nuts.
That's fun.
But we were, because he's an old school hip hop head too. We've been digging through records his whole life.
Love hip hop.
And we were gonna be working on an album,
of
just mixing and remixing Nick at Night songs. Gonna call it. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave it at that for now.
Okay, let me know when that shit drops.
I will let
you know.
Let
me know when that shit drops. Cause I'm gonna fucking blast that shit. I'm gonna blast that shit because I'm all that. All that. That shit gonna be all that.
Speaking of all that,
Without Diddy.
I'm not touching that.
I
I think I gotta start making moves, man.
what? What do you mean? How? Wait. What do you mean when you say making moves? How's your...
I'm saying we gotta set ourselves up for part 2.
Part 2. We've only been 2 hours in, and we need to have an 8-hour conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You told me you do like 1 to 2 hour episodes, so when you said we were already at 2:10, I was like, oh, he's telling me to wrap it up.
No, I was like, fuck. I tell people, like, we here. We can keep going. Like, you can keep going. We have at least 3 more hours before before my data like builds up and we have to stop talking because it's gonna cut off.
That's a lot.
Not even. But it's actually a good conversation.
Yeah.
Like it's not like we're talking about like bullshit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like we're just talking about like art. We're talking about like creative and like that's what I appreciate about you the most. Is like you are an artist. Through in, throughout, like it doesn't matter if we're talking about rap, doesn't matter if we're talking about art, doesn't matter if we're talking about massage. Like even when we're talking about massage, like we both talk about it as an art form. You know what I mean? And that's what I appreciate the most about you, is how you see the art in life. You know, it's like I talk to a lot of people and they don't understand what like art through life is. Do you understand what I feel? Do you get what I feel? Yeah, like people don't like see it's like life is art and art is life. And like you see shit and I'll laugh. And I'll see the humor in life because what I look for the most in life is like the most fucked up part about it. She just wanted attention.
I see it.
You see it.
She's having a good time.
She's my bad bitch. She's my favorite bitch. But like art is a replication of life, right? As they say.
Art imitates life.
Yeah, there you
go. They also
art
say life imitates art, right? Like that's that whole
cyclical cycle. Oh yeah, she just wants to fight. She just wants to fight. But what is it that what art do you draw most from besides from hip hop? Because we both established we both love hip hop.
Yeah, hip hop only makes me want to write hip hop half the time.
Half? What does that even mean? Hip hop makes me want to write hip hop half the time. So the other time you listen to hip hop, what else you wanted to write or listen to?
So, like sometimes hip hop inspires me to work on like some industrial music, or like sometimes punk inspires me to write hip hop. But like writing hip hop doesn't for me only come from listening to hip hop. Half the time, like if I get inspired when I'm listening to hip hop, the feeling that evokes in me is not the same energy that I use to create hip hop, if that makes sense. So like
No. I'm not saying you're wrong. It just made me think. What you said made me think real quick. So like what you listen from hip hop does not inspire you to make hip hop.
Right.
I agree with that. Sometimes like you hear something from hip hop and that makes you feel real grunge. Makes you feel like kind of like and not like what anarchist.
Yeah.
Like hip hop can be very anarchist in a sense. And hip hop makes me feel anarchist. So I get what that means. Like, is that the same kind of feeling you feel?
Yeah. Like sometimes listening to hip hop makes me want to create visual art.
Oh,
sometimes,
yes.
Sometimes I'll see a picture and it'll make me want to like work on an instrumental.
Yes.
When I listen to like a lot of punk, that's what makes me want. Like when I listen to like punk and hardcore, that's what makes me want to write hip hop.
Oh.
When I listen to hip hop, sometimes it makes me want to listen to jazz, or it makes me want to like go down a jazzy road.
That's a very powerful way of thinking. Yes.
So like it's the same way. Like if you went to a restaurant and had something that was really good and spicy, you might come home inspired to cook, but you're not trying to like chase the same spice. You're like, oh man, you know what? I just saw this recipe for a salad. Like I really want to try this salad now that I've got this clean palate. I'm inspired. That with ginger reminded me of this with lemon. This is gonna taste so good. right? So like
that's some Action Bronson shit.
But it's it's definitely parallel in that way. Like
Hey,
what,
no,
what it
you're not
inspires
wrong.
in
You're
you
not
doesn't.
wrong. That's why I said that's some Action Bronson shit.
Yeah.
It sort of reminded me of how he's the chef.
Yeah.
And how hip hop is also like a cooking kind of formula. Like you gotta cook, you gotta put this and that. You gotta add some spice. You can't come to hip hop with some stale ass fucking chicken. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You need that churches, you need that fry, you need that fucking spice to it. Like best believe you gotta get that like fucking El Pollo Loco. Like when everyone's going off on this like what was it Louisiana Popeye's chicken fucking sandwich. I was like, bitches, y'all fucking need to have this fucking El Pollo Loco shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I was all about. It's like, fuck the Popeyes. It was about El Pollo Loco. So it's like that chicken and flavor and that like spice.
I feel like if you if you've read any of his stuff, like when RZA talks about the connection between martial arts and hip hop.
Oh yes,
he talks about like so.
Yes, I remember hearing about this.
Definitely, like watching a kung fu movie makes me want to battle rap, right?
Oh,
because like I'm seeing that warrior, that underdog story. I feel like that underdog. I have that go for it energy. I feel like a champion now. I want to defend my style. You know what I mean? So like. What you're inspired by is going to be what you're inspired by. It's going to be
well, Shaolin, that Shaolin rap is what Wu-Tang is about. Is that Shaolin rap? Like, don't they have a track called Shaolin rap?
Oh, I mean, they talk about the Shaolin monks, but Wu-Tang is a...
Well, yeah.
But Wu-Tang is a movie series.
I will say this. Okay, if we were to say anything, I would definitely say Wu-Tang is Shaolin rap. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So, like, the different kind of kung fu, we have different type of rap, we have different type of, like, boxing. Shaolin rap is Wu-Tang. Like, that's like one of the holy forms of kung fu. One of the holy forms of rap is Shaolin. And then you have someone like Kendrick. And we were just talking about Kendrick and his whole fucking, his whole, like, there ain't no big three, there's only big me. I was like, oh, damn, that's shots. That's fire. That's kung fu right there. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? How is that not kung fu? Because he's battling both Jay and Drake, who, like, they're trying to, like, make peace. And it's like, we first pursue mode. Like, this is the only three of us. Like, we should be acting cool. No. And then, like, K-Dot was like, nah, fuck y'all too. It's just me. Like, I love that.
Yeah. I mean, that's why, like, so many people work out to music. Because, right, like, listening to music doesn't always inspire music. It might just inspire movement.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
I had put out a series of instrumentals one year.
Multiple years.
Really, like, so I put out this project called 24. And it was music that I was making the year that I turned, or was it 26? It was music that I made, like, that year. And I just made it to listen to because I liked riding my bike to it. And so, like, I put it out as, like...
I don't think I've told you cool, my Kanye theory, then.
What's that?
So, my Kanye theory is this. This is basically my TED Talk. It's like, so, College Dropout is headphone music. It's music that you listen to when you're on the bus, when you're when you're walking to school, when you're on the plane. It's like, you're walking music, you know what I mean? Then you listen to Graduation. That's stadium music.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's different type of music, like dun, 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 dun. Hey mama. Like, that's, you're sitting in the bus with your big old headphones in, listening to that. And then you hear Graduation, like, dun, 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 dun. That's like stadium music. Music that you listen to in the stadium. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, that's like my whole evolution of, like, College Dropout to Graduation was, like, he graduated from like headphone music to stadium music. And, like, even after that, like, Dark Twisted Fantasy, that's stadium music. It's loud, it's banging. You have to like be in a stadium to really appreciate the vibrations
Where do
of
you
it.
feel like Yeezus landed? Is that more headphones? Is that more like solo in the car? Is
That's
that?
stadium. That's stadium. Like, all right. So let me say this: like Dr. Dre,
Hmm.
like Chronic, that's car riding music. I even say this. I even told Casper this. Like a lot of his early stuff, a lot of stuff he like, even the stuff he produced with you, that's our car music. That shit you listen to in your car. You know what I mean? Like you're riding on the street, like Chronic, like even Snoop Dogg, the Dog Pound, Snoop D-O-double-G, riding on the streets of LBC. You know what I mean? Like that's all just like you listen to your car music. You're riding down the streets. You have your windows down. It's 70 degrees in Southern California. It's just beautiful, just like riding music. Versus like if you listen to New York music, it's New York weather. It's like it's all harsh. It's all mean. It's all like grunge. It's like you feel like you're shaking kind of. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's New York music to me feels like you're shivering. Versus LA music to me feels like we're riding a car. You know what I mean? Like we're in the car, we're in the back seat, we're enjoying ourselves. You know, the shit's bumping up and down like hydraulics. That's LA music. New York music is like we shivering. Nas, we shivering. Even when he's like Illmatic, that's shivering music.
Yeah.
That's just shit you listen to when you're cold. I mean, when you're upset and you cold, you're like, argh. But LA, like, we just like, Snoop D-O-double-G, can you feel me? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kind of like, we extending the words. Like, one of my favorite quotes in football is from Terry Bradshaw. Is like, you know, I'm from, because Terry Bradshaw, he came from Louisiana Tech. And like in Louisiana, you got that southern way of speaking. We just elongate the vowels. And he was like, when I went to, because he went to Pittsburgh, and like, the reason why people talk so fast in Pittsburgh is because I'm chilling. This is what we're going to do. And that's kind of like that. That's how New York is. You know what I mean? Like, just very like cold feeling. I like how you're fucking with her. You're enjoying yourself, aren't you?
Yeah.
She likes it too.
Yeah, we're having a whole time.
Yeah. But yeah, do you feel like you agree with that assessment of like east to west?
I think more so during the era when.
Like even what about now?
Now I feel like it's kind of. I feel like the internet really changed everything because.
Yeah.
There were people that were wanting to make New York sounding music but didn't have as much access to it out here and vice versa. Like you have people in New York that just want to chill, you know, but they didn't always have a lane or like a venue for it.
In New York specifically?
Yeah.
Or like the northeast area?
Yeah, I think like, you know, whatever community you were
I don't
in.
go to the restaurant, keep talking.
Like different communities had different feels, you know what I mean? Like you had to find a place to be with it, and there was a while where like there was one predominant style I feel more than others, but you know, now that again like what the internet has provided for, now you can find any kind of beats from anywhere for anywhere. You know what I mean? And when you have that, then you being one out of a million people with no one else around you into your subgenre, into your niche, into your, you know, into your little weird pod, you can all of a sudden connect with enough people that there's actually a whole scene's worth in the bigger community. And so when that happens, and then people actually start being willing to travel and collaborate and connect with other people, then you wind up with whole festivals popping up that you wouldn't expect of kinds of music that, you know, wasn't as popular and still isn't as popular. And maybe there was only 1,000 people that liked it, but those 1,000 people were able to come together for it. So, you know, again, like going back to the New York versus the Cali feel, I think what, you know, for us as millennials, what kind of like defined the era was also a lot more focused on East Coast, West Coast. And even if you weren't trying to split it up that way, like it was really defined that way. Now, I don't think there's as much of a distinction. I think that hip hop has so many other different subgenres that the actual locality has sort of lost flavor in a lot of ways. Like I don't know, it's easy to rep wherever you're from and do whatever style you want.
Yeah,
now.
but the thing is, like, especially like, there's been 2 times in like hip hop where West and East has been separated. So we have like the Tupac versus Biggie separation in the early 90s, and then we have 50 Cent versus Game. That was the first like separation between like West Coast and East Coast, right? Like, what other times do we have those kind of like conflicts?
I mean, yeah, hip hop beef is really.
Well, those are the two, like, those are the two
ways.
biggest beefs. Is if we were to in my personal opinion, the biggest beefs we have in hip hop is between West and East, right? Like, what other big beefs do we have in hip hop?
Like, I don't think there's the same kind of beef as there was before.
When you say like there wasn't the same type of beef as before, what do you mean by that? Like, because we have the East versus West. And the East versus West is the biggest beef. I mean, it killed the 2 biggest hip hop artists in the world, Biggie and 2.
Okay, so I'm gonna break this down like a grandpa.
You go ahead with your old hat.
Because at one point when I was coming up in hip hop,
yes,
there were like requirements to be an MC. Right,
okay.
like if you were to call yourself an MC,
yes,
you had to be
especially
able to,
from New York, because it's different.
In general, like the rules of MCing are like universal to hip hop. You have to be able to perform. If you're gonna make tracks,
performing in what way? Because you can be an MC, master of ceremonies, as a like, oh, what's going on?
Like as a host. Yeah.
And then there's also the MC as like also being the DJ. So you had to both be the MC as in talking and DJing, or was it just about?
You had to be able to rock a crowd. You had to be able to perform your music live. So that was one thing.
Your own music.
Yeah, you had to be able to perform your own. I've had thoughts about that too, because hip hop is one of the only genres where you don't get to do covers. Rock artists, country artists, any singer songwriter gets to perform.
I thought about this too.
First,
too.
Rappers, like, what you're showing off is intellect, not necessarily.
J. Cole can't do a Tupac song.
No.
J. Cole cannot do a Tupac song. And that's not saying anything about J. Cole.
You can't even rip another artist's bar. Like, hip-hop is all about individuality.
Yes.
So, with that, you had to be able to, again, you had to be able to perform live. You had to have, like, a hot 16 in your pocket ready to go at any given time. So, if anybody said, like, do you rap? You'd be like, actually, my name is Casey. I came to say I can rap now till the end of the day.
Hey!
Right, so you had to have a 16 on deck.
Every time.
You had to be able to battle.
That's hard. People can't battle. Battle is hard.
You had to have some degree of freestyle capability. Right? Like, those were, like, that was... So, unless you could do all of those things... And I, like, you know...
That's a lot, though.
I met people, and they were like, oh, like, do you rap? They're like, oh, I'm not good at freestyling yet. Like, I'm not a rapper yet. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, there was an expectation.
I'm not a rapper. I'm just a choruser. That's what I said. As I said, I'm not a rapper. I'm a choruser. I'm not a rapper. I'm a hype man.
Would you do the hook?
I'll do the hook. I'm a hook man.
Hook man? I feel like it's another term.
Hook man.
No, we can just call you the hooker. Right, so you can be the hype man. You can be the choruser.
You just want me the hooker.
Now we're getting into rugby.
See, the thing is like, yeah. The thing is like, I feel like if I were to be my musical skill is a mega hook. I'm not a chorus. The same thing is like making it right in the play. Like, I'm good at making the overarching play. I'm not good at the dialect. Same thing as like rapping. I'm good at making sure like, oh, this is what the song should be. Yeah. But I can't make the song. You see?
Yeah. That was a bar. So
it's a bad bar, but it's a bar.
It worked. It rhymed. It was on cadence. It was on. So you had to do all these things to be able to call yourself an MC, and therefore, when you had a bunch of people that like had a bunch of standards to get into the status level of I'm an MC, I'm a rapper, I can do XYZ, then you had clashes of style, but there was a lot of talent. There was a lot of battle and competition into it. As hip hop evolved, in some ways, it had some really alternative avenues that allow people to
There's
be
so
more...
many different types of hip hop.
Exactly. You could be more expressive and not actually have a desire to battle.
Yes.
You could battle and not have the desire to ever record a song with a hook.
Yes.
Right? So because there are so many different ways that the music has gone, that's what I was saying, like with all the different subgenres now, I don't think it's east-west like that anymore. I think if people battle, people rep where they're from. And if there's a big battle scene in Chicago and there's a big battle scene in Florida, then it's a Florida versus Chicago kind of rivalry, right? If there's a big battle scene in Chicago and a battle scene in LA, then you get the Midwest versus the West Coast. But again, that's really just like, boxers are going to represent the country
Where
they come from.
Cuba, Japan,
right,
Korea, America, Mexico.
Right. So I think it's more like that now. Like people that want to battle and rep where they're from are going to battle and rep where they're from. But that doesn't mean like hip hop.
But battle rapping is so much different than any type of rap.
Battle rapping, yeah.
Because battle rap is like you sparring.
Yeah.
And it's hard because you gotta look at somebody from the tip of the toenail and be like, ba 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 ba, and like there's different things. Like for me, like even like as a comedy, we have the comedy roast, like comedy roast battles. You know what I mean? Like rather like it's basically like the base way I have to say like comedy roast battles are. It's kind of like rapping, but we have to be more jokey. You know what I mean?
I mean, both a lot of battle rap and comedy is all about building up to a big punchline.
Yes.
Right? And like the more levels of complexity that your punchline clicks on gets you more points.
Yeah.
And there's some people that have just really stupid punchlines, but because it fits in the context of a great performance and it wins the crowd over, then, people are
it's funny because you get
winners because, they get the crowd.
The builds up.
So,
yes.
There's that level of competition to it. Again, like I don't think that's become.
What's the hardest part about being a battle rapper?
You have to remember that you're not just battling the artist.
Oh.
That you're battling the artist as a performance. Your target is not just the artist, but what everybody is going to recognize as a hit.
Oh, that is something. Oh, as a comedian battles. Yeah, as a comedian roaster, I can see where you're coming from there.
Right.
Yeah.
So, like to make it about comedy, right? If you and I had an inside joke,
it wouldn't land.
Exactly. Like I might know something super personal about you, something embarrassing. But if it doesn't make sense to anybody else, and I'm like
he finds Mrs. Martinez hot, and he wants to fuck Mrs. Martinez,
and like nobody else knows who Mrs. Martinez is. And meanwhile, like I'm here like crying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's not gonna win the battle.
Yeah.
Right. Even though that might be like a sharper, more cutting, like you might have the psychological edge over your opponent. It's not that kind of fight. It's the performance of the fight. So you'd be better. And I lost my first battle. Yeah. Against a guy,
as you should. Everyone should lose. Everyone should lose their first battle. Yeah. Like you should never go expecting to be undefeated in battles.
Yeah, no. And shout out, Pump Gatto.
He's
still putting out music these days. He's Boyle Heights. He's East Los.
Heights. Hey,
yeah,
represent.
He's doing a lot of shows. Like he was battling. He was putting out music a lot for a while, and we battled it in my head. I was like, this is a punchline, this is a bar, this is a bar. And then I got up there, and like, first of all, you know what I mean? Like, my delivery was like, I'm a little nervous. So I'm not as confident as I could be. And then even the ones that I was confident about, when I didn't get the crowd reaction that I wanted them to have, that really took wind out of my sails. And I didn't realize, like, oh, that was a good bar, but this battle was not like that wasn't the place to throw that punch. Yeah. That wasn't the place to try to bring out that weapon. Yeah. And that weapon failed. And that was a great weapon, but like it didn't win in this fight. So Pump Gatto got me.
It's like pulling out a great sword versus a revolver.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like
you can do some damage with the sword, but like
the revolver's gonna beat your ass. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So battling, same thing. I had a guy battle me,
Yeah.
and he referenced album tracks
Oh,
of mine. You know what I mean? Like pulling in jokes and punches from things that I had done online throughout the year. Like he had gone through my social media.
as bars though, as actual rapper, like as rapper to rapper, I would respect him more.
Yeah.
But the crowd doesn't.
Well, that's
But
the thing.
crowd
Like
doesn't.
I caught all the punches.
Yeah, the
But
crowd.
nobody else caught the punches because nobody, like, I don't have a catalog where people are like, yo, that was track 3. You know what I mean? Like, people don't know my stuff like that, so it didn't land like that.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
but the way he said it is like, yo, that hit me. That was a bar. Like, you get it. You get it.
Yeah, like, I gave him more points than the judges did because I caught the total context of what he was writing.
Yeah, you're like, oh shit, I see what you're saying.
So
like,
yeah, like as you're stepping into the battle circuit, that is something very much to keep
I've
in mind.
I've been in that situation where if I referenced something about like some comics like career, and like the comic like, oh shit, but like the crowd be like, eh,
Exactly.
that shit, like, you know what I mean? It's like like everyone's like, what?
Because in the moment, it's a popularity contest.
Yeah,
And you have to get popular real quick.
And I know you have to be confident because they have to know who you're talking about. Like, even those, like, Comedy Central roast battles, they mainly depend on you knowing the pop facts of that person, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's why, you know, half the people up there roasting are just random celebrity figures because it's fodder that people are going to be able to understand jokes about.
Yeah.
You know?
You know what I mean? One of my favorite ones was, John Takei. What was his name? John Takei?
George Takei.
George Takei, the Asian guy. Yeah.
Yep.
Him against
Shatner.
He's like, I'm happy because now I can finally say what I wanted to say to you the whole time. Fuck you and the white horse you rode in on. Are you just playing with Lucy right now?
Yeah, this toy was looking lonely over there on the floor.
You having a good time over there. You know she's Mexican dog because how high she can jump.
Is that a Mexican trait?
Yes. We all jump high. Put a wall in front of me. You should be surprised how high I can jump.
I just know that white man can't.
But I'm Mexican and we can. And she can too. Bitch, she jumps high as hell. Like for her stature, she literally jumps like three times her height.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's if she was a dog, she'd be an Olympian. Like for her, like pound per height, like
yeah, that whole
athlete,
ratio.
like she's an Olympian. But that's what happens when you're from the streets of Pomona. Mira, ya se sé. Come here. Venga para acá. Yeah. Ay, ching. You know, my neighbors call her bilingual because she speaks both Mexican and English. I don't know.
Which brand of Mexican does she speak?
Mexican.
Mexican?
Mexican.
Not like some fake ass Mexican.
No, like real
some
Mexican.
Like some deep Mexican.
Some deep, like she'll like look at you and you're like, what? Like some type of shit. You'll say some shit. Like, okay, like that Mexican from the streets, Mexico. She knows that shit. She'll actually be choked. That's why.
Did not know that.
She does. Look at her. She's choked right now. I know. Look at her leg. I know. See, when people ask, is she a bitch? Yeah, she's a bitch. But, okay, so massage. How does massage and music come together? After all this right now, this whole time talking together, how do you, like, combine your, like, music with that? Like, ain't gonna lie, like, the reason why I started putting, like, lo-fi tracks into my music is I was part of this Facebook music group, or this Facebook massage group, and they were like, what is your playlist? And this one dude put like, bro, I've been listening to lo-fi all week, let's battle. And I was like, I'm gonna listen to lo-fi this whole week. So like that's how I got into like making my own playlist. So like when it comes to curating your own music for massage, like what type of music do you like to like put on? Because I had a lot of people like they'll say like I want like not omen but like religion, like chanting, there you go, like chanting, whether it be like Christian, Catholic, or even like Middle Eastern like chanting. I've had a lot of people ask for like chanting. what type of music do you like to listen to or like prefer to listen to? You know what I mean? Because that's a huge part of it.
So we talked a lot about music when I was in massage school, actually. And that with my own experimenting in music and whatnot, I personally prefer to do body work to ambient noise.
Ambient noise.
Or if there is going to be some instrumentation, nothing that is playing fast enough to have a rhythm. Because there's something...
What do you mean by not having not enough? What is fast enough not to be a rhythm? What do you mean by that?
So sound bowls are instruments.
Yes.
But they're not played to play a melody. They're just ringing out notes. You know what I mean? And sometimes you'll hear harp music that's just a sweep of notes and then random plucking, but it's in the same key and it goes nice together, and a gentle strum here and there. So the whole thing that I look at is if there's anything with a tempo, if there's anything that allows the client to stay grounded in time, it takes away from the relaxation experience. It's when you can remove yourself from time completely that you have those experiences where an hour feels like a minute or a minute feels like an hour, right? Because it's literally just experiential. So if the sounds in the background are enough that a client doesn't get to disconnect fully, then I feel which, there's a time and place for.
Yes.
If I'm doing sports massage, music is going constantly. If I'm doing deep tissue restorative work with somebody, I might put on some lo-fi because we're going to be a little bit more engaged during the session. I want the client to stay a little more engaged. I can gauge, how long we're doing things by how many beats are happening.
Yes.
But for relaxation work, for a 90-minute session, I'm typically avoiding anything with any kind of rhythm, any kind of melody. I just want there to be sound in the background that kind of resonates with the body and allows the client to detach.
Yes. I actually just had this client today, literally today, he said it's when you're working on me right now, I really just associate, and I wasn't really seeing anything. The only thing I was visualizing was the word, I just really got into Hebrewism, and he started got to Muslim, the Muslim faith, and he was all I felt was and all I saw was the words in the the Quran. And it's he was just all I saw was the words. That's all I saw. I was listening, I was seeing the words. And that's all the music, it felt him. It's not I was playing Hebrew music. Honestly, I usually play lo-fi, fucking music, music lo-fi, string quartet. I have a song called, I have a string quartet of Thriller on my playlist. Just because it's fun. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because I like to play a lot of music like pop culture, random stuff, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh!
I mean, that kind of goes back to what your client's goal is for the session.
But I just play because it's fun to me. Yeah. It's because it's for me. And and I put I have my clients tell me Blaize, your playlist makes me feel like I'm on an adventure. And he takes them into an emotional journey. Because that's kind of what it is. Getting a massage is the most journey half the time, sometimes.
Well, this kind of goes back to the conversation that we started earlier about how to curate, right? Yeah. And so you're curating a playlist, and right now you have enough to draw from that you can have
500 songs.
500 songs, and any random 40-minute snippet is going to be on that vibe that you are kind of transmitting during your session.
Yes. And there can be so many different vibes. I've played American Idiot with string quartets on my playlist, which is fun. And I've had some clients be like, oh, this is what the song is. This is what that song is. Yeah. Because I do have string quartets and piano songs, so a lot of popular songs. Pop songs, hit songs.
I've worked at a couple spas where I wasn't expecting it. There's an instrumental going, and then all of a sudden you realize it's actually a pop song, and then you can't unhear the words at that point. And you're for me that ruins it. if I'm in the middle of giving a relaxing massage and then all of a sudden I recognize like, oh, this is My Heart Will Go On.
Nah.
Now I'm singing My Heart Will Go On during the massage, and it's like I've like disconnected a little bit from the body.
I have a piano cover of Kanye West songs. Like my favorite piano cover of Kanye West songs is Gold Digger. And like everyone's like, is that Gold Digger? And it's like, yeah. And I even have some songs like medieval cover songs. I have medieval cover songs of like Dr. Dre.
Oh, I've heard
medieval,
some of that.
like
Bardcore.
Yeah, the same one, Bardcore, of like Eminem, of J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar, and one of my clients is like, "Is this Notorious B.I.G.?" And I was like, "Yeah, it is." And he was like, "Righteous." And I was like, "Yeah, it is." You know what I mean? Because it was a big pimping in the Middle Eastern kind of, I don't know, but the medieval kind of vibes.
Like the loop.
Yeah, like the whole shit. And he was like, "This is badass," and I was like, "Yeah, it is." And so like it just cultivates like, even though it's like this whole like, cause hip hop is very chill, like hanging out kind of vibes.
It can
like,
be.
It is. And like, especially if you just get in like the right like setting. Like I play Tyler the Creator, Kendrick Lamar. I play Mac Miller. Like all their instrumentals. Like I just play their instrumentals, and like old folks like, I love this song, and I was like, yeah, you have no idea what they're talking about. Like, here's some Eminem shit too here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so like these people don't understand. You know what's funny?
What's up?
My mom always asked like, "Do you massage Lucy?" And I was lie to her. I said, "No, I don't." It's like, "Why don't you?" It's like, "I don't want her to get spoiled." Cause I look at you right now. You spoiling the fuck out of her. You look at you like you getting. Oh, look at her. She's like, "Oh, you do too much."
Yeah. Once I fidget a lot, so if what lands in my lap is a four-legged creature, then I'm gonna fidget through its
I ain't gonna lie. I do the same thing.
Start skin rolling.
I do, and I really just start massaging this. She loves me so much. Like I be massaging her shoulders, and I like really get in there. She's like, ah, I just like, ah. You know when you work on people, like, ah, she's like, ah.
Yeah, same reactions.
Same reactions. They're like, ah, because I can see like. They're like that agony, but like, oh my god, it feels so good, it hurts. Ah, I can see like the difference is with pets. They'll give you the little like half gnaw.
Mm-hmm.
Or like give you like like they won't bite you, but they're like
they're just gumming you.
Yeah, they gum in my forearms and shit. That's what she be doing.
Yeah,
you know.
See that.
See,
she's all about that gum life.
Yeah, she's not a biter. She's just a gummier. Oh, look at her. Look at her. See, that's what I mean.
Yep.
She's like, oh, right there. She's like, oh my goodness. Oh my God. Like, she hates it, but loves it at the same time. See, she's not biting me, but she's like, See, she loves, hates it. And that's what happens with a lot of our kinds. They love, hate it.
Yep.
See, she's not biting me. She's just like, oh my goodness, oh. She just hates to love it. And that's the thing I love about massaging my dog. She's like, I know she loves hating it.
Yeah.
Because I can just feel it. See, the thing is, I want to do like pet massage.
I've thought about that.
One of my teachers in school was a pet massage therapist. And he's like certified teaching it.
Oh, nice.
So I want to hit him up. It's like, can you certify me? And he was like, I think, it's kind of like just like doing it.
Mm.
It's just because I know like white women pay like $80, like $800 for an hour. Old white ladies, yeah, my demographic. Y'all got some money. I ain't gonna lie, that's my demographic is old white ladies.
Yeah.
Cause like they got money. Old white ladies.
People that want to pay for their dog to get a massage.
Yeah. That's like my demographic. Oh, look at her. Oh, she's like, oh my goodness. Oh.
This is making me
uncomfortable.
No, it's just making me think like I gotta get home to my kids.
Dude, cats?
Yeah.
You don't call them kids.
They're my kids.
They're not your kids.
They're my fur babies.
No.
I'm a cat daddy.
I'm not. I'm not a fur baby. I'm just a.
We've discussed this
Yes.
ad nauseum.
It's not.
I'm a cat daddy. I'm a family man, and you carry what? Single dad energy.
I'm single dad energy. I'm divorced dad energy.
Yeah. So.
Like you're surprised I have full custody of the bitch.
Like you'd call your human kids
Bitches.
Animals. Yeah.
That's it. I was like, you know, my little bitch. Who's my favorite little bitch? You are my favorite little... Because she is. Look at her. She's my favorite little bitch. I have a favorite big bitch, but that's different.
Different story.
Different story for another day, but she ain't here on the camera.
Yep.
But Casey...
I'll go hit the head, bro.
We go ahead. Let me hit pause.
Shall we wrap for now? Or?
Finish out?
Let's wrap for now.
Let's wrap for now. Okay,
yeah,
so
like
Casey. So once again, Casey, they can find you where?
DFOdigital.com.
DFdigital.com.
At Dreadful Operator.
At Dreadful Operator. At what? Instagram, Twitter, Facebook.
Yep.
LinkedIn.
I think on X. I am at Spray Faint.
Spray Faint? He doesn't use X that often because
I'm on X at Raw Guts.
Raw Guts.
RAWGUTS.
Raw Guts.
But I think I'm on, what is it, Loop or Link or whatever they tried to launch after Twitter turned into X. Threads.
Threads is Instagram.
Yeah, so I'm on Threads and Instagram the same at Dreadful Operator. Yeah. Facebook.com/Dreadful Operator.
Dread. Remember, because you're going to dread your interaction with him. Wait, why did you choose Dreadful Operator?
I used to write mini magazines and distribute them around the city anonymously.
What?
And I had dreads, and
You had dreads?
I had dreads down to my waist.
I need some photos now.
So I
need some photos of
put out all these projects as Dreadful Operations. And then when I started rapping, I was like, oh, if I do Dreadful Operations, I must be the Dreadful Operator.
Yeah.
So that's the rap name I went with. And
it's actually a good rap name, honestly.
I've been performing under that name.
Dreadful Operator is is a bar.
Yeah.
The Dreadful Operator.
Dial 0 for operator. On my website, you can see I got merch.
A bar.
It's a cell phone, but all the buttons are zero. It's like an old school flip phone, like the Matrix style.
Yeah.
All the buttons are zeros. So dial 0 for the operator.
Dial 0. Remember, 000.
O for operator.
But you know what? He's still my hero. Hey.
You're my favorite pillow.
That's the name of the album.
That was an inside joke.
That's the name of the single.
It's the name of the single.
Jeff is my favorite pillow. So you can follow us at Jeff Operator, his Blaizeness, Blazing Sharp Podcast.
That's all I got.
Everything else. But yeah, take care. Love y'all.